a little rusty, not playing as much. Definitely focusing on practice and working on those skills and workshopping in the practices.
Well, tell me about, last time, especially down here in corner one, we see tremendous action going on, all of the pushing and shoving and hitting. How long does it take to recover from a roller derby bout?
I'm still recovering. It's been years.
There you go. Maybe you never recover. That's the reality.
Yes, but the danger zone here. You'll see like there's a little bit of a border, kind of, I don't know if that's foam or something around the edges, and that's the 18 and up zone because it's in the danger zone. We see skaters almost fly right into our table here.
Well, hopefully we won't see that tonight, but we are in the corner because all of the jams start out right in front of us, and this is where first contact is made. Maybe not where they're skating the fastest, but at least where first contact was made. As we go into the second bout here at Redwood Acres, Root Force had no problem last time against Floodwater going ahead and getting their jammers loose. But that has been a problem for the Redwood Rollers. They're on the opposite end. They've lost 2 games, and they have a very tough situation tonight. They're going to play the number 5 ranked team in the Western United States, the Santa Cruz Hellcats. How do you go ahead and, I was told that morale is good, but how do you go ahead and practice to get those jammers loose?
Well, it's good to play a competitive team. That's how you get better. If you're only playing teams that you're better than, then you're not ever gonna get that competitive advantage. Well, distracted. The Derby Blowhards, ladies and gentlemen, making their first appearance tonight.
Down on the corner, Willie on the floor, boy. You gotta like that. The situation though with the season starting, I asked Dome Wrecker when I was talking to them about the schedule, and they went ahead and said that this is probably the most difficult first 3 games on the schedule that they may have ever had.
It's true. And we talk a lot about the strategy on the track, but there's also strategy in the game scheduling. We have a lot of teams that reach out to us to either come and play with them or to have them for them to come and play here. But we are strategic about who we play and always careful about the rankings too. So by playing a team that's much higher ranked than us, we can actually heighten our rankings depending on the score, even if we don't end up winning.
I was just going to ask that. So you're saying that even in a loss, if it's a competitive game, that Humboldt could go ahead and improve in their ranking.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like if we played a lower ranked team, we could go down in rankings even if we beat them if it was a close enough match.
Well, so far the Redwood Rollers have dropped a few notches. They are now the 39th ranked team in the region, winless so far on the 2024 season. Not the case, though, as we said, with Root Force. Now, with Root Force, if there are jammers that are impressing the Rollers coaches, will they call them up and use them in game 2?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking over our list here, seeing how many players we have playing in both bouts. It definitely takes a big toll on players when they have to play 2 in a row. A smaller league, you just got to do what you got to do to make the roster sometimes.
Well, I'm sure that nobody's going to turn down the opportunity to play a little more, but it is a good point. You have a team, the Santa Cruz Hellcats, that are coming. Excuse me. The Hellcats are coming in. They're playing 1 game where you've got people that are skating for the Redwood Rollers that might be playing 2 games. How much? Now, you had the game in Salem. How much are these teams practicing right now?
Well, our training camp does, I think, 2 days a week, and the teams skate 3 days a week, practicing 2 hours at a time. Plus, they're on committees. They do training outside, cross training to help improve their skills outside of the practice. So it's a huge commitment.
It's a huge commitment, and there'll be this bout tonight, and then we won't have a home bout here until the end of April. And the rollers, of course, though, they can head out and take on teams on the road as well. Are road trips good for a team?
I think so. I think it builds that camaraderie. It gives you a chance to see how other teams play, what kind of track they're playing on, what kind of audience they have. But I've heard over and over again from different teams and from our players traveling that we really have the best one here with our production and our fans. The best place to watch a roller derby game is right here.
Well, I have no doubt about the production, but it was something interesting you just said. You said the track. Are there better tracks out there?
There are different tracks. Some teams will just play on any kind of flat surface they can find, whether that be a parking lot or a warehouse or whatever. They want my paper back.
So we're about 7 minutes away from the start. The players will be introduced shortly, and we'll get underway. Game 1 of 2, doubleheader tonight, as they are here at Franceschi Hall for the home games. Humboldt Route Force will take on the Supernovas from the Bay Area from Burlingame as we get ready to get started.
Should be really exciting. I can't wait.
What is game day like?
Game day, it depends on the skater. Some of the more competitive skaters can be really intense. They're trying not to schedule anything for that day. Some skaters try to keep their normal routine so they don't have any surprises. Before my first game, some of the veteran skaters, their advice was just do your routine, do your laundry, fold the laundry, eat normal food. Don't do anything out of the ordinary. It's not the day to go run a marathon or anything like that. But
what about extra stretching or loosening up in that manner?
I would say hydrating absolutely is important. Stretching. They do spend quite a time warming up here before the games. And they do a team dinner the day before. So everybody's kind of nice and ready, hydrated and stretched out. Hopefully we're prepared for the game.
Where do they hold the team dinners? That sounds cool.
It's right here in the middle of the track. They just put up a couple of tables. They really transformed this place between the games. My first game, I hardly recognized it with all of the seating up and the lights. But the space has a lot of different options.
Outstanding. And they really make it their own here at Franceschi Hall. I just like the name Franceschi Hall. It's just got a classic ring to it.
Franceschi Hall. Humboldt Roller Derby actually started their first practicing in Blue Lake, and some of the practices we hold at the municipal or at the Blue Lake skate rink still. But we have our games here, and there's kind of a reason for that because the space is big enough. It's one of the only areas with this nice flat surface for us to skate on, and has a large enough capacity that it is able to let us have those WIFTA sanctioned games. That's part of like their rules about the area. Actually, you can't play in for a sanctioned game.
And that is something, for our listeners, if you're a first-time listener, and if you remember the old roller derby that was out there and on, you may have grown up with the Bay Bombers or the LA T-Birds or somebody like that. The bottom line is this is flat track roller derby. This is not the banked track roller derby. And it is pretty extraordinary how deft, how nimble some of these skaters and jammers can be getting around, potential blockers or just staying in the field of play when they're going around on a flat track. Very impressive.
I agree. Definitely impressive. And the bank track is also impressive. It's not that one's better than the other. I think flat track is just more accessible. It's a lot harder to have a place where you can set up a bank track. It's a really big piece of equipment. I think the closest we want to have is San Diego. And we do have skaters on our team that have played on that track. But yeah, just different game, different rule sets.
What did they say about it? Did they think it was cool?
It's faster. You really work that angle to kind of zoom down at people, kind of like a.
Oh, it must be harrowing. God, from down to the top, down zooming in.
Probably a little more injuries, I guess.
Wow. Well, I'm very impressed with the athleticism of the teams we saw last time here at Franceschi Hall. The Supernovas have been introduced. And maybe, the Supernovas have to be introduced to each other because they are a conglomerate team of Bay Area leagues where they've chosen to come up and travel. And they're here tonight. So Route Force about to be announced.
Supernovas look like a strong team. I love the purple. They got a lot of purple on their jerseys and shorts. Route Force, crowd's already getting into it.
Route Force wearing the white jerseys. Supernovas will be in the black and purple. Supernovas pretty much have uniformed uniforms, but for Route Force, if you look at them, I think there's unity, but there may not be uniformity, as all this team has very different brightly colored pants and sequins and sparkling and whatever, but they're all wearing the white jerseys tonight for the game. Getting introduced now and heading around the track. Spring is in the air. The sun is still coming through the doors here at Franceschi Hall. Very pleasant inside the rink as we're getting ready to start. Big crowd on hand here for the first game, filling up seats. Still a little bit of room out there if you're thinking about coming in. Now, years ago, I used to play football. As a high school kid. And the reality was, I liked being on the kickoff team because I could run down there and just, hit somebody or be hit. Is it the same in roller derby? You want to get that original contact, get that out of the way?
Yeah. It does help just to get that first hit out of the way so you're not so worried about it. I skated with a skater that's retired, feline distemper. She used to like someone to slap her in the face before the game. Just to
what, in the locker room or there on the bench?
Out there in the locker room before the game.
Did you ever do that?
I didn't, but other skaters did. Yes, that was a part of her strategy for getting ready for the game.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Okay, taking their lap and saying hello to the fans. A great tradition. Route Force, slapping hands with the Supernovas, getting ready to go. It's amazing how infusive a smile can be while you're wearing a mouth guard.
I like the mouth guards. I think they add a little more personality. Some just have the bright white. Some have like some of the fangs or the red. Got the refs out here showing their personality. Just saw Harry Pitfall skate by and say hi. Probably saw him in the camera, but
there we go. Megalodonna, Hellwood, Quake, Meow, Missy, Pitfall, and Sadie are our referees for tonight. We're getting ready for the first jam of the night. Setting up. Two jammers back behind. It's going to be Carhartt Crush, who had a great game against Floodwater, against Bully Elliott. Kind of like that name.
Bully Elliott. Yes, a lot of great names in roller derby. Another way the skaters show their personality.
And we're getting ready to go. The game is now underway. And we have it's gummed up as they start often here in turn one, as the jammers are trying to make their way to the front of the pack. Once they clear the pack, then their next time around, they can go for a scoring opportunity. And look at, it's Carhartt Crush that opens up the first attack for Route Force. And she's going to come up to the Supernova line, and it's going to be both jammers are knocked down. Chelsea, what happens when they both get knocked down?
Well, you saw that they had a little bit of a slow start there, but Carhartt Crush was able to get that lead jammer position. So once she fell and she saw that jammer behind her, I think she just wanted to take the safe call and call that off before the other jammer was able to score any more points than they did. looks like they did. Supernovas were able to get the 2-point lead, even with the Humboldt Roller Derby having the lead jammer status.
So 2-1 as we start the second jam. It's gummed up once again, but breaking through right now is number 14 for the Supernovas. Their jammer Pyro Fight. And Humboldt is still gummed up, but Cherry Bomber is going to get out, and she is now around the track and looking for a possible scoring opportunity. Great blocking by the Humboldt defense right now. And Ron Luke Picard sends Pyro Fight down. They're going to call off the jam. Once again, a jammer going down and calling off the jam. We'll see how the points stack up. Supernovas pick up 3. It's now 5-2. Is that a common strategy, Chelsea, where they call it off once they go down?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to give any advantage that you can for the other team. You saw Pyro Fight there in the middle of the track, calling it after getting that hit by mad cloud disease and another skater.
Third jam of the night, and starting slow again. Humboldt, breaking out for the Supernovas is Pyro Fight, and they're coming around in a scoring position here, and they're going to pick up the Humboldt blockers almost at the jam line, and it is a standstill right now. There is nothing happening. Outstanding job of creating the wall and keeping Pyro Fight from getting through. This is some of the best defense I've seen Humboldt play, as stacked up, not registering a point at all at this time. Pushing Humboldt is brute force, does not have their jammer in scoring position yet. So this defensive effort is very important. And now breaking through is Pyro Fight. That's Annie Mall that is now the jammer for the Supernovas, and scoring on a second pass around and breaking through past Danny Longlegs and knocked out. Meanwhile, Humboldt has yet to get through the initial wall of the Supernovas.
Seeing some really good defense. That's how you know when this game is at a snail's pace, and it seems like the skaters aren't moving very fast. That's how you know the defense is doing their job.
That's the telltale sign you look for, fans. When it's slow moving, it's 13-2. The Supernovas have broken out, and then breaking through for one last pass was Animal. Then they called the jam off. On the jam, they won the session 8-0.
Yeah, Annie Mel, first time we've seen her tonight, but definitely a strong jammer. It's so difficult for those jammers to push through those skaters in the pack and then sprint all the way around the track and then do it all over again just to get those little bit of points, 1 and 2 at a time, up to 4 points for a lap.
So actually the score was 12-0 on that, 17-2. A great start for the Supernovas. And right now it looks like Humboldt's going to have a chance to break through. Carl Spark. And this time it's the Supernovas jammer that's having a tough time. Spark is going to come in with a chance to score some points. And there's a terrific wall by the Supernovas. And Spark is going to have to go back to the penalty box. A terrible situation when points need to be scored to have lost it. All right, the pivot has been past the panty. Gilmore Girls was the pivot, and they are now with the panty. They have it on their helmet, and they are trying to score. 17-2 in favor of Supernovas. Great start for them. And Gilmore Girls breaks through.
Taking advantage of that, the lead jam position and a power jam, since our jammer was in the box. She is now out, luckily.
if you're going to be penalized and you're the power jammer, can you pass the panty before you go to the penalty box?
No, even if you are a lead jammer, you still have to sit in the box, and you can't call off the jam during that time. You just got to let them rack the points up. That's not a position you want to be in.
Because there's no chance to score anything. What a nifty move by Kilmore Girls, flying across the corner of the track and scoring points 29-6 and breaking loose as Sparks scoring all kinds of points here.
We're almost at the full jam length too, going full 2 minutes. We saw how rare that was the last game we went through last month there.
So the jam's going to be called off. 33-12 in favor of Supernovas. Tell us about that. Is it unusual for jams to go the full 2 minutes?
2 minutes can be a lifetime during a jam. I wouldn't say it's super unusual, but we see them called off more than not. The lead jammer taking advantage to call that jam off. It gives them some power over controlling the points there.
The jam is on and plowing ahead for Humboldt and getting through. Wow. Carhartt Crush, you had that great game against Floodwater. They have shown that they are the jammer that has been the highest scoring for either two teams in our events. And Carhartt Crush is trying to make up some of that difference. They're coming up to the jam once again, lowering the shoulder. Oh, my goodness. Sending a supernova to the supernova. Wow. That's going to hurt.
Does look like there was maybe a penalty on that, judging by the referee's motions, maybe a forearm penalty. We do have Humboldt Roller Derby starting with a blocker in the box right now.
But, or would the penalty have been on Carhartt Crush?
Yeah, it might have been, but I don't see her going in the box. So it looks like they didn't end up calling.
If you have a penalty right at the end of your shift, do you go in the penalty box still, or do you just go to the bench?
If it's a quality, start the next jam in the box.
Great job here. Cherry Bomber with some very nifty moves along the side, and both jammers got out as fast as we've seen that happen tonight. And now Cherry Bomber, oh my, tried a spin move and then was knocked out and calls off the jam before Supernovas really have a chance to score.
Cherry Bomber definitely taking advantage, doing it just the way jammers like to do it, short and sweet. She had those sweet juke moves, are coming right out, right from the whistle, able to get out pretty easy. Went around the track, got those points and called it before the other jammer was able to score any. That's exactly what they want to do.
So here we go for jam number 6, 37-21. Humboldt starting to get the gap closed a bit, and there was out of bounds for the Supernova jammer, and then Pyro Fight was able to get through. Meanwhile, bogged up is Humboldt's jammer. See who that is. Looks like not Lisa is trying to break through. Meanwhile, Pyro Fight is being defended very well by 3 Humboldt blockers, and not Lisa has got through. But Pyro Fight called off the jam. 37-21.
You can see there we had the 3 blockers working together, one anchoring, skating backwards, using her body to let the other blockers hold on to her to give her a little bit more power to hold that jammer back. And it looks like that was Braun Lucas, not Lisa, forcing Pyro just right out of the track.
So here we go for another jam. Tasmanian Devil is the jammer for Humboldt. And they are pushing forward now. Good defense by the Supernovas. Chelsea, what do they call that 3 formation?
It's a variation of a wall, the tripod there when there's 3 blockers working together. Didn't work with much success during this jam, though, because their jammer just got right out of there.
There we go. But Tasmanian Devil has gone ahead and gone around and is going to call off the jam.
Tasmanian Devil, that head on a swivel. You have to keep your eye on that jammer at all times, watching those blockers, making sure that you're within that pack range, looking at your coaches on the sidelines. You really have to be looking everywhere while all of this action is happening, playing offense and defense at the same time. It's a really intense mental game, not just physical.
So when a jammer goes back to the bench, are they talking to the other jammers about, the technique or the strategy they're going to use to get around especially that tripod wall, which is so effective, I think, defensively for teams when they play it well?
Yeah, they'll talk to their other jammers, their coaches. They'll tell them if they think a blocker has a weak side, or if the jammer likes to go for the inside line normally, kind of give them those tips and insights.
Yeah, I want to get our underwriters in. I've got so excited. The Speakeasy, we want to thank them for their support. New Orleans inspired custom built bar, seasonal craft cocktails, local fresh ingredients, live jazz, blues music, open 7 days a week from 4 to 11. You can go there after the games. The Speakeasy can be found at 411 Opera Alley in Eureka, or by calling 707-444-2244. I want to also remind our listeners, this is KVVH 96.7, the broadcasters of Humboldt Roller Derby. And that's the Blowhard Band is back. I think the song is I Ain't Got No Money.
You gonna sing it for us, Paul?
What?
You gonna sing it?
Well, a little bit, I've been trying to, good radio.
I don't know if that's what the listeners are here for.
What? Hey, I didn't call the timeout.
This is
How many timeouts do teams get?
This is an official timeout, but teams get, I don't remember. I don't remember how many.
Okay, we'll get to the rule book on that one and
check it.
Get that down to the boys in research, and we'll see if they've got an answer. So there is a timeout here on the track, 39-25. Remember, Humboldt was down like 21-2. So they've gone ahead and outscored the Supernovas through the last few minutes. Supernovas, an interesting team, a conglomerate team. People from Bay Area leagues that want to go ahead and travel and have the experience of going on the road. So sort of an all-star team in a sense against Root Force tonight.
The experts came back with the answer that teams get 3 timeouts each. That does not include the official timeouts, of course.
Okay.
3 per game.
So here we go. Starting jam number 8.
Supernova chaining arms together. They can hold on to themselves. They cannot hold on to opposing team members, but they can hold on to themselves. And you can see how that would be an advantage for blockers, able to kind of help their balance, coordinate their moves together, and become a more solid wall. 2 people make a stronger wall than 1. 3 make a stronger wall than 2.
I think the tripod wall is really when it's played well, it's beautifully played. It's a wonderful defense. And we see that's good old Carhartt Crush. And you know what? Carhartt Crush really doesn't matter to them if they they're not going around the tripod wall, they're going through it.
Yeah, Carhartt was able to get through that tripod, but not without cutting the track, and that did cause her a penalty. So she's in the box now for the next 30 seconds.
And that hurt because your scoring player can't score. And Betta Recognize is running loose for the Supernovas and coming up on a scoring opportunity. And Knives just knifes through. What a perfect name. That was 4 of the easiest points you're going to see scored in this game, this bout.
Humboldt is down a blocker and a jammer right now, so this is the time for the Supernovas to take advantage and score as many points as they can.
Knives went ahead and got bumped and flew through the air, got back up. They're not going to call off this jam because they're doing they've got Humboldt shorthanded.
Yeah, absolutely. You will see sometimes they'll call it out when the jammer's in the box, just so they have the advantage starting the next jam with their own jammer only, no other jammer on the court. So that can be an advantage, but it just depends on the strategy the team's playing at the time.
You know, what was unfortunate about that for Brute Force was that Carhartt Crush has been their best jammer through the two games that we've seen, and essentially had their time on the track taken away from them because of the penalty.
You really have to watch that footwork. One skate outside of the boundaries and you end up in the box for a track cut. Looks like that just happened to the Supernovas.
Bully Elliott broke through very easily. Maybe the easiest anyone has broke through tonight for Supernovas. And Bully Elliott has done some great footwork along the side and has gone ahead and passed all of the Humboldt blockers. Meanwhile, Humboldt is having a difficult time getting their jammer out again.
That's going to be a big issue. You can't score any points if your jammer's not on the track.
That was the issue against the Diamond Divas. So Bully Elliott, the third pass for Bully Elliott, and shows no sign of stopping. Like a runaway train, Bully Elliott racking them up. It's 59-25. Bully Elliott not afraid of contact. When they come and meet the pack, they're over there in turn number 3, and Bully Elliott has scored again.
Saw Cherry bomb her running out of the penalty box, trying to catch up to the pack so fast she tripped over her own skates and fell down without any contact.
Trying too hard here. Bully Elliott. Oh my, what skating by Bully Elliott.
Excellent footwork there. She's just tiptoeing right on that line.
Excellent footwork. Bully Elliott is a large player. This is a fast, powerful player that is a jammer that is scoring all kinds of points and has really given the Supernovas a large lead and not afraid of contact.
Get that great combination of size and excellent footwork.
Unbelievable footwork. So a 16-0 run. Humboldt 20-0 run. 67-25. Unbelievable work by Bully Elliott.
There have been a lot of penalties this game. We are starting this next jam with Humboldt Brute Force jammer in the box. That's going to be an advantage for Supernovas. Once a player gets 7 penalties, they are kicked out of the game. So that's definitely going to be a concern.
What is the number one reason you think why a jammer goes to the box?
It's probably for cutting the track. Push through those blockers. It's hard to kind of keep track of where that line is sometimes. One toe outside and that's a track cut pretty much. Sometimes, you're pushing really hard and you might hit an illegal blocking zone, accidentally hit someone in the face or the back of the head. Things happen. You're not allowed to kick people with your skates or kick their feet out from under them. Those things happen with all the chaos going in there. So even if it's an accident, you still get the penalty.
Now, have you ever encountered a dirty player?
Had suspicions.
Suspicion?
I haven't personally, but I would say when somebody hits your jammer really hard, there's definitely that little bit of you that wants some revenge.
Throw the high, hard one. Here we go. So Humboldt is just going to be on defense because jammer in the penalty box, Cherry Bomber.
The penalty is only 30 seconds, but with a 2-minute jam, that's a huge chunk.
And we're down here in turn 1. And it is going to be a breakaway for Pyro Fight. So once again, a horrible situation for Humboldt. The Supernovas have the opportunity to score while the jammer for Humboldt is still in the box. Humboldt doing their best to block her, but Pyro Fight is going to get by Slam Chowder. and score there, and is still on the move. Cherry Bomber finally out of the box and able to take on a Supernova player, but knocked down and out of play. Meanwhile, Pyrophyte is skating at will and scoring points, but looks like Pyrophyte is going to make it around turn 3. I thought it was possibly going to be knocked out, but that wasn't the case. And now Pyrophyte finally taken out by Sasha Thrash. The jam is still going on, and both jammers have reset because they had been knocked out of play. Pyrophyte knocked out again by Sasha Thrash, who suddenly had a couple of fine defensive plays here in the last few moments. Cherry Bomber knocked out again. Humboldt just can't get that jammer loose.
They're really having a difficult time. Both teams are using that tripod strategy. It's just working out a little bit more successfully for Supernovas.
Supernovas a little bigger as a team with the players that are involved in that tripod.
You know, and size definitely has something to do with it. You know, bigger people are harder to get around.
That's right. 75-25, the score. 12 minutes to go here in half number 1. The Supernovas looking super, that's for sure. A conglomerate team from Bay Area leagues that have come up and formed a traveling team, and they look like they play together well.
They do. I would like to know like a history of how long these skaters have been playing together.
And once again, here we are at the bottom here of turn 1, and breaking away is
not Lisa.
Not Lisa for Humboldt. And the Annie Mel hopping over the corner of the track. And mad plow disease was not able to see Annie Mel coming from behind. And Annie Mel was able to score without getting any contact. Annie Mel has got some great skating ability and is scoring all kinds of points and may call off the jam before Humboldt even gets to the opportunity to score. But no, they're going to try to keep scoring. Humboldt is trying to score, not Lisa. But Annie Mel, my goodness, what skating inside, outside, doing a great job. Fast skater. Oh, tried to cut the corner that time, but wound up going out.
I think Annie Mel must be some kind of a reptile because she just slips right through those cracks like it's nothing.
89-29, the score. Running clock heading towards 10 minutes to halftime. Huge scoring half for Supernovas.
Yeah, not a great first half so far for Humboldt Roller Derby, that's for sure.
You know, it's the exact opposite the last time we saw Humboldt Roller Derby's Route Force team. They ran the table quite often versus the Floodwater team, but not tonight.
It's just so different.
Tell us what's happening now. There seems to be a meeting of coach and captains with referees. Was there a problem out on the track?
They called an official timeout. I'm not sure exactly what that was for. Yeah, the teams are just kind of talking amongst themselves.
But we do have an official meeting at the center. Will they talk to teams about the style of play or how rough and physical the style is getting?
There could be a penalty possibly that we think they're about, or it could be a time clock or score team.
One thing you don't see in other sports is when the band is giving us some entertainment during a timeout. You rarely see the players from other sports dancing to the music, but you do see that.
I don't know, relax. here in between games. It's all serious cases during the jam, but in between they're all smiles. Like we have some officials fixing the track. The track is just a duct tape border, so that definitely gets a little messed up sometimes with all these skaters going over that.
Well, we've seen some skaters really trying to cut the track tonight.
Absolutely. We saw a lot of those penalties. We saw some illegal blocking. Humboldt's going to have to watch those penalties and keep their jammers on the track if they're going to have a chance of coming back from this tonight.
Right. Can't even begin to talk about getting jammers loose if they're unable to get away.
Stuck in the box. They're not going to score any points.
So here we go. And the Supernova jammer bumped out. Here comes Humboldt trying to pick up. Great defensive play there by Slam Chowder to knock the Gilmore girls out. He was called for the penalty, though. Humboldt's going to break loose. Carl Sparks is on the move in scoring position, but Humboldt is down players. And so Gilmore girls will have the chance to really rack up some points because Humboldt is down 2 skaters.
Humboldt does still have that lead jammer position, though, so it'll be interesting to see if Carl calls off the jam, and she does before Supernova can get through that pack.
So a 60-point lead, though, 93-33. I want to throw in a couple of more underwriters. Want to say thanks to Cafe Brio for their support. European-style bistro, casual organic bites, artisanal coffees, and local wine, 7 days a week, 8:30 to 2:30. And the Rennie Law Group, a public law group providing legal services to public agencies throughout California, practicing public law and public interest. Find out more by going to renniepubliclawgroup.com or by calling 415-848-7200. So we get back to action, and action for Humboldt is Carhartt Crush. When they're in a game, they are breaking loose and they are scoring. And what happens is Supernovas, before Carhartt Crush gets an opportunity to score, calls off the jam. Also, I'd like to thank Juan Pablo Cervantes, who sponsors us. Obviously, a lot of work in that last election. It went very well. They're going to gear up again for November. So Juan Pablo Cervantes, thank you for your underwriting.
It's a short, successful jam seen for the first time. Better recognized from the Supernovas team that last jam.
So here we go. Once again, this is Bully Elliott, and Bully Elliott has been just that. And a great skater. Big, strong, fast, nimble. I mean, that's a jammer right there. Bully Elliott coming around the track and getting ready. And now knocked out. Cherry Bomber, though, has escaped. And now Cherry Bomber is going to be in a position where they can go ahead and rack up some points. It looks like the jam was called off. 101-33, the score now reads.
Looked like our blockers were doing pretty well. They were able to get her out of bounds. But then the blockers just lost her. They tried to get the jammer to kind of run back as far as they can behind the pack, making it harder for the jammer. But sometimes that works out for an advantage to the jammer because they get that momentum build up.
Momentum is everything for the jammer, I would think.
Yeah, it definitely plays a big part of it if it's used correctly. Momentum can also take it right into the floor ball.
Go breaking loose. Not Lisa. And Annie Mell is going to have to go back as Humboldt has driven her out but she's going to go ahead and escape to the inside. And now it's not Lisa that gets driven out, and she's going to have to move back. The jam is called off. Looks like 2 points were awarded to Humboldt. 101-35.
Looked like Animal was going to get some points on that one. Humboldt looked like they called it just in time. So the referees do decide a point based on when you pass the opposing player's hips, their hip area, to officially get that point.
And sometimes with players turning, I mean,
yeah, it can be hard to
block it. Yeah.
So many refs out here.
You do have a lot of refs. And two refs, we should say refs, two of the refs are just for the jammers. So once again, it is Kilmore Girls. Kilmore Girls has a great inside move where they can leap that corner of the track. They've been fantastic scoring points that way. Now going to take the outside and be almost driven out, but stayed in. Outstanding skating for Kilmore Girls. Meanwhile, finally breaking loose, Tasmanian Devil for Humboldt. Slam Chowder and Saxa Thrash get passed there by Kilmore Girls. They're going to call off the jam. That was a 12-0 jam. Too many of those tonight.
Another strong jammer for the Supernovas, Kilmore Girl. She's very agile and able to do that apex jump. Not a lot of skaters can pull off. Kind of a risky move. If you hit anyone while you're in the air, then that's a penalty for you. And, you know, we saw how dangerous it can be for jammers to get that penalty and how detrimental it can be to their team.
Tell me the apex move.
The apex is that turn around the corner on the inside. Some skaters have the ability to be able to jump that turn, essentially a shortcut across the track, which would definitely give them an advantage. But if you do jump and you hit someone, like I said, you get that penalty and end up in the box. So risky, but when it pays off, it's a lot easier than trying to bust through 4 people.
Once again, a timeout here on the track. Once again, the officials and representatives from both teams meeting in the center of the track. And there's going to be some more track repairs.
The official timeout might be for track repairs. You can tell it's an official timeout when the official standing there is making the O with her hand. O for official. They do a T motion on their shoulders if it's a team timeout. That's how you can tell the difference between timeouts. If you want to increase your derby knowledge, you're watching along with us.
So if you're in a situation where you need to call up the jam to keep them from scoring, the problem for you is you don't get a lot of long scoring runs.
Exactly. And even finding that the room to call off the jam can be difficult sometimes. You have to really make that obvious to the referees that you're calling it off. Doing a tapping the hip motion. They do really big arm motions and tapping those hips, but sometimes you're so cramped inside of there, you can't get your arms out to call off the jam.
I mean, calling up the jam can be a defense in itself, right? Because you're going to keep them from having the opportunity to score. But once again, to let the audience know, that means if you call up the jam, you no longer have that chance to score.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely a lot of thought behind that. That's why they're looking towards those bench coaches, looking at the other players and going off their own experience to make those difficult calls.
So 113-35, it's been all Supernovas. They have collected, conglomerated, and brought themselves up in the Bay Area, and they are just terrific as a team.
They really are. They're showing their skills tonight. This mix of skaters has really come together. They look like they know each other really well. They're all playing really coherently. Those tripod defenses are really strong tonight, as we've seen with the Humboldt jammers getting stopped almost every jam so far. That's reflected by the score there.
That has been the problem for Humboldt when we've seen them in losing efforts. Remember this team, the last time Root Force is 1-0. They had a phenomenal game against Floodwater, but it's all about getting the jammers loose.
It's only a little under 4 minutes until halftime here. The roller derby games really do fly by. If not for you on the radio, definitely here in person with all of the action going on.
Okay, so here we go down in turn one. Getting ready for Jam 17 and a long run here. A different strategy this time. This is a new jammer for the Supernovas. It's Knives, Ron Luke Picard, and Matt Bout is holding them up. Great job with the tripod here. Knives is kept from scoring, and all of a sudden, here comes Tasmanian Devil coming out of the penalty box. They started with a jammer in the penalty box, but she races by the Supernova defense. One of the better passes we've seen from Humboldt tonight, and now hammered down in turn 3 and calls off the jam.
They did call off the jam, and the Humboldt Roller Derby did get a penalty that looked like a head block based on the referee's movements there. Again, you are not allowed to hit an opposing player on their head, their neck, their back, their buttocks. There are only certain target legal hitting areas. The number one priority.
Well, what's next? Where can you hit?
You can hit the legal target areas on your arms, your side body mostly is where you want to go. Nothing that would cause serious injury like a broken back, paralysis.
Man, I think they might want to rethink that. There's some tremendous hitting tonight between Bully Elliott and Carhartt Crush for the respective teams. These are tremendous jammers as far as taking on the blockers straight on. And with 1:49 to go, we have a timeout. I'm going to throw in another underwriter. Once again, I want to thank the Speakeasy, New Orleans-inspired bar, craft cocktails, local fresh ingredients, jazz, blues music, and they're open 4 to 11 in Opera Alley every day.
This might be our last jam of the first half here with only 1:30 left to go.
19 jams. This is the 19th. And breaking out. Fantastic move by Cherry Bomber. And Pyro Fight is going to also break out and be chasing. Here comes Cherry Bomber to try to score. They're knocked out with a hip check. Wow.
You see Cherry Bomber not even bothering to get up before calling that. She's just face down on the ground, madly slapping her hips to call off that jam as quickly as possible before Supernovas can score anymore.
The Detroit Demon.
The Detroit
gave her the hip check, and that worked.
Supernovas have a lot of demons on the track tonight.
Yeah.
You can see the experience in these players. Really slow and calculated coming up to the back of the pack, really kind of calculating their moves, planning on how they're going to get through. And then that able to do that sprint, that quick sprint around the track. It's a hard skill to master, to be able to work the slow maneuvers and being able to sprint.
Once again, a timeout, discussing with the captains. Captains for the Supernovas is the Detroit Demon, who sent Cherry Bomber flying, and Braun Luke Picard for Route 4. You listen to KZZH Radio 96.7, 119 to 38. A real spanking here in the first half.
It sure is. I hope this doesn't discourage our skaters that are going to play in both games tonight. Braun Luke Picard being one of those skaters. Just saw her doing an interview on Access Humboldt. I love that they're doing this too on YouTube, and online at Access Humboldt.
Hey, this is big stuff. Humboldt County Roller Derby, and it deserves to be covered and covered well. So
Just shows the love of the community. Not a lot of teams get this kind of attention.
I want to ask you that, and as you've gone to visiting rinks, you've already said that you think this is the best one. Have they had radio and TV coverage as well?
I haven't seen any others that had radio coverage that I was aware of. I have seen them, some teams do a live stream, but most commonly I'd say they record the games and then you can watch it on YouTube like a week or so later, but not like the live play-by-play like we're doing here, nothing like that.
There you go.
Long official timeout right now. They have a tough job there. A lot of things riding on this. They take their jobs very seriously, even if it is a volunteer job.
Remember, well, I mean, we should mention that the strength of the Humboldt Roller Derby is the strength of the volunteers that make all this happen. This great scene that is Franceschi Hall for a Humboldt Roller Derby doubleheader.
They call it the volunteer army, and it does take an army to put on an event like this. People setting up the chairs, setting up the track, cleaning the track, doing the tickets, security, all of the officials. Even the skaters are volunteers.
There you go. Not a village, an army.
An army, and we always need new recruits. So you can go to HumboldtRollerDerby.com and sign up to volunteer. They give you free pizza and they try to coordinate it. So if it's a double header, you're working for one game and you get to sit and watch and relax and to watch the second game. So kind of a sweet deal there.
Now remember, this game is essentially the second team for Humboldt. So while this game is going on, there's not rankings at stake and that sort of thing that we're going to see in the second game of the night.
Yeah, it's not our ranked team, not our travel team, the charter team, so to speak. But definitely it's still a competitive team. Everyone on this team has to battle for that spot each and every practice.
So here we go with what we think is going to be the final jam of the half. And breaking through, not Lisa for Humboldt. Meanwhile, Annie Mel gets knocked out and has to go back. Here comes Not Lisa up for her first scoring pass, and she's grabbing a hold of Gabby like, oh my. She gets hit by Lucille Balls and driven out, and that's going to send Lucille Balls to the penalty box. My goodness, the enforcer for the Supernovas lowered the boom on Not Lisa.
That looked like it hurt flat on her back. That's kind of the hits you look at worrying about concussions.
Okay, that's going to end the first half with the Supernovas up 119-41. We're going to send it back to the station for the community calendar, and then we'll pick it up for the second half of Humboldt, Luke Force, and the Supernovas. Once again, 119-41 in favor of the Supernovas.
Welcome to the KZZH Community Calendar for the week starting Friday, March 29th, 2024. On Friday, March 29th, drop the kiddos off at Kids Night at the museum from 5:30 to 8 p.m. at the Redwood Discovery Museum, 612 G Street, Eureka. Your 4 to 12-year-olds will enjoy interactive exhibits, science experiments, crafts, and games, exploring the planetarium, playing in the water table, or jumping into the soft blocks while you enjoy a relaxing date night. Find out about admission pricing by emailing info@discovery-museum.org or by calling 707-443-9694. Also on Friday, get your skates and come to skate night from 6:30 to 9 p.m. at the Eureka Municipal Auditorium, 1120 F Street. This is an all ages first come first served event with no pre-registration required. There is a maximum of 75 skaters at any one time. There is a very modest admission price. On Saturday, March 23rd, lend a hand at Cooper Gulch Volunteer Work Day from 9 to 11 a.m. Cooper Gulch Park, 8th and Myrtle Streets in Eureka. You can help pick up trash and remove invasive species. Meet at the main parking lot. All supplies will be provided. This event is a family-friendly, however, minors must be accompanied by an adult. Email hatwood@eurekaca.gov or call 707-441-4218 for more information. Also on Saturday, check out the Foam Marsh Tour starting at 2 p.m. at the Arcata Marsh and Wildlife Sanctuary Interpretive Center, 569 South G Street. Meet leader Barbara Reisman at 2 p.m. in the lobby for a 90-minute rain or shine walk. Topics will include an overview of the wastewater treatment process, native and non-native plants. Find out more by calling 707-826-2359. Finally, on Saturday, are you a Humboldt Roller Derby fan but can't make it out to Saturday's games? Access Humboldt and KZZH 96.7 has got you covered. First, you can tune into KZZH 96.7 starting at 5:45 p.m. for complete game coverage. You can also stream live video of the games at youtube.com/user/accesshumboldt/live. Don't miss a single moment of exciting HRD action. On Sunday, March 31st, feel the beat at all level samba drumming from 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. at HLOC's Space 92 Sunnybrae Center in Arcata. Drums are provided and there's no experience necessary. Beginners are welcome, or just come and hone your skills. The class fee is a very affordable sliding scale. Email samba.arcata@gmail.com for details or find them on Facebook. Also on Sunday, explore on Lolita Bottom's field trip from 8 to 11:30 a.m. starting at the Lolita Meat Market, 351 Main Street. Join trip leader Ken Burton to see birds of the Eel River floodplain, including raptors, shorebirds, and grassland passerines. Meet in front of Lolita Grocery to Caravan Carpool. Find out more by emailing shrike3@gmail.com or by going to rras.org. On Monday, April 1st, check out the Entrepreneurs Club of Arcata from 4 to 5 p.m. at the Arcata Chamber of Commerce, 1635 Hayden Road. Share your ideas, learn business skills, and network. The meeting is free and open to all. Call 925-214-8099 for more information. On Tuesday, April 2nd, raise your voice at the first Tuesday of the month sing-along from 7 to 9 p.m. at Arcata Community Center, 321 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway. Join Joel Sonnenschein as he leads a sing-along of your favorite folk, rock, and pop songs of the 60s and 70s. Songbooks will be provided. There is a very modest admission price. Find out about that and more by calling 707-407-6496. Also on Tuesday, check out English Express, an English language class for adults. You can build English language confidence in this ongoing online and in-person classes. All levels and first languages are welcome. You may join anytime and pre-registration not required. Go to EnglishExpressEmpowered.com or call 707-443-5021 for more information. On Wednesday, April 3rd, you can discover local history at the lecture on examining early day East Arcata Bay from 7 to 8:30 p.m.
My friend
at the
from the Rennie law firm is
569 South G Street. Jerry Rodet examines the major changes of the Bayside area between Daniel Slough and Eureka Slough. Email info@arcatamarshfriends.org or call 707-826-2359 to find out more. Also on Wednesday, join 350 Humboldt's first Wednesday of every month meeting from 6 to 7 p.m. This is a local grassroots climate action group's online meeting to take action to address climate change. Email dwchandl@gmail.com for a link. On Thursday, April 4th, it's Nature Quest from 2 to 5 p.m. at the Eureka Municipal Auditorium, 1120 F Street. This is a wilderness immersion program for teens and adults. Explore trails and share mindful practices, group conversation, and other eco-therapeutic activities. Adults meet Thursdays, teens meet one Saturday a month. Transportation provided for Eureka residents. It's free, but you are required to pre-register. Email swood2@eurekaca.gov or call 707-382-5338 for more information. Registration has opened for North Coast Open Studios, taking place May 31st to June 9th. NCOS is open to artists of all ages, skill level, and media, including artists and manufacturers, and welcomes all creative spaces, from dining room table to garage, rented studio to plein air studio. Deadline to register is Saturday, March 29th. Online registration at northcoastopenstudios.com. For more information, call 707-442-8413. The Board of Trustees of the Arcata School District is seeking a qualified person to join the board for the remainder of the term until the November election. Application online at arcataschooldistrict.org. Completed applications must be received in the district office no later than 5 p.m. on April 3rd. To submit your nonprofit event to the KZZH community calendar, go to kzzh.accesshumboldt.net and follow the community calendar link located near the top of the page. Your event information will be read twice a day, at noon and 5 p.m. on weekdays and at noon on the weekends. Your event information will also be shared on Access Humboldt TV's bulletin board. Access Humboldt, local voices through community media.
Spring is here, and it's time to launch your garden with some free quality compost. Come get yours at the 5th Annual Spring Garden Giveaway, a partnership of the City of Eureka, Recology Humboldt County, Redwood Community Action Agency, and the North Coast Community Garden Collaborative. It takes place Saturday, April 13th from 9 a.m. to noon at the Recology Sorting Facility in Samoa at 555 Vance Avenue. So come by and stock up on free compost, free seeds, and more. Please be aware that there is a limited amount, and it's all being given away first come, first served. You must bring something to haul away your compost, whether it's bags, buckets, or even a truck bed or trailer. In addition to the compost, there will be free plants and seeds, and please bring your own to exchange with others. Again, that's Saturday, April 13th, 9 a.m. to noon at the Recology Sorting Facility at 555 Vance Avenue in Samoa. For more information, call 707-441-4218. What a great way to kick off your spring garden.
Difficult first half for the Route Force, Humboldt Route Force, trailing the Supernovas 41. Jealousy, what do you tell your team at halftime when you're down by over 70 points?
Gotta just forget it. It's, they call it jamnesia. You gotta forget what happened and play like a fresh start all over again. Try to learn obviously what their strategies are doing, what's working, what's not working. If they can improve the second half.
Well, here we go. And it's Bully Elliott. Who else would start for Supernovas? She's been great, and she busts through the Humboldt line again. And the panty has been passed to mad plow disease, and the panty was passed by Carhartt Crush, and mad plow is going to wind up picking up a penalty. No, the jam was called off.
Jam was called off. I don't see any Humboldt skaters going to the bench right now, so hopefully she was able to avoid that.
There is one blocker for Supernovas on the bench. That is Lucille Balls, who delivered that big hit at the end of the first half.
I think that was our first panty pass we've seen tonight. That's the helmet cover with the star or stripe on it is called the panty, and the jammer can pass that panty to their pivot if they want to designate the pivot as the jammer.
So Pyro Fight has gone ahead and broken through and is in scoring position as she reaches turn one, and the tripod for Humboldt, and knocked out with a hip check there by Torque and Beans, but we're going to have the jam called off. If you've got a big lead like the Supernovas have, are you more likely to call jams off yourself?
They might want to run the clock, use that strategy like they would do like in football. They might want to just keep racking up those points. I'll be curious to see if we start seeing some of the less experienced skaters for Supernova get a chance to play. Sometimes teams will let less experienced skaters do that if they have a big enough lead. Oh gosh, some hits already.
Not Lisa is going to break through, and also the Detroit Demon has become a jammer here, and everybody meets the pack, and Detroit Demon sails through unscathed and is ready for her second pass at scoring. Meets the Humboldt tripod over there in turn two, and now the jam is going to be called off.
Lisa, in one of those situations we were talking about right before halftime, trying to call that jam, but she was just stuck in the middle of the pack, not able to get her arms out. And the Supernova's jammer was able to squeak by with a few points there.
So it looks like the Supernovas are giving some different jammers a little bit of time, as I can see Annie Mell is now in a blocker position, and it's Knives doing just that, knifing through and breaking loose. And it's Knives that is on the scoring pass right back down here in turn one. Finally, Carl Sparks looks like they're going to break through. So they'll have a chance to be in a scoring pass. Meanwhile, Knives is, oh, what a hit by Slam Chowder. And Knives is going to be run out. Carl Sparks uses all the confusion to pull through, but then they're run down to the ground by Ball Rat. Ball Rat driving Sparks out. Now Sparks back on the loose and is going to go ahead and pass that last Supernova skater, but driven down by Annie Mell, who's going to go to the penalty box for that move.
Supernovas have their jammer and pivot inside of the box right now, giving Humboldt Roller Derby the advantage and the power jam position, being the only jammer on the track temporarily, but not for long. Supernova's jammer is already out of the pack. 30 seconds does go by quickly.
So Carl Sparks still trying to plow ahead. Knives, the jammer that was in the penalty box, dancing along the line, but finally being knocked out by Slam Chowder. And things are really clogged up here in turn three at the far end of the ring. And it looks like Knives is going to be driven down, and now Slam Chowder and Dega playing some defense, but finally Knives breaks loose and is going to pick up 4 points for the Supernovas, and looks like might be dinged up a little and calls off the jam and kind of wobbles over back to the bench.
It's the toll that physicality takes on the skaters. By the end of by the second quarter, they're definitely moving a little bit slower, getting up a little bit slower, kind of grabbing those body parts that are hurting already. You can see that in the jammer and Supernovas this last jam.
So you're on KZZH, 96.7, the action, 130 to 52. Bully Elliott, one of the better jammers we've seen come in here, breaks through and now is coming down and picking up more points. Meanwhile, Carhartt crashed. What effort he is giving, but it is just 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And Bully Elliott back around for the third pass. So Referees got all kinds of whistles blowing, hands in the air, and Bully Elliott just keeps skating around and picking up points the hard way. Does not go around anyone. Well, I'll tell you what, some very fancy footwork, and they're going to call her out. Did you see that spin move? It was amazing.
So we have a situation now where Carhartt Crush is in the box and the Supernovas Jammer is in the box. Not very exciting game when none of the teams can score points. So the rules does take that into account, and they cut the time. So both jammers serve the same amount of time, but they try to minimize that. So there's always some action going on in the track.
Both jammers on the track, and it's Carhartt Crush that breaks through. And Carhartt Crush looks exhausted.
You saw her face trying to bust through that pack. You can see why. She's giving it all that she has.
It has been a tough night. Meanwhile, Bully Elliott, the leading scorer in this game by far, comes around the track and into the pack, zigzagging, that time showing some real depthness instead of the slam approach that she's had earlier in the game. Going to call off the jam, 148.56. We are brought to you by our underwriters, the Speakeasy, Brio, Juan Pablo Cervantes, Rennie Law Group. Want to thank them for their support of Humboldt Roller Derby. So a timeout at the moment.
This is a team timeout. It looks like Humboldt called this timeout.
146-58. An insurmountable lead for the Supernovas. And like Chelsea said, he was trying to come out and win the second half.
Not looking great for Humboldt Roller Derby. They're a brute force team right now. But wow, California Derby Galaxy just playing excellent roller derby tonight. Great awareness, great footwork. Jammers are just killing it and making it look really easy. I promise it's not easy.
And we should note this, in the second game of this doubleheader tonight, the Santa Cruz Hellcats are the 5th ranked team in the region.
And not only are they highly ranked, they are also playing with all fresh skaters tonight. Like our Humboldt Roller Derby team, the Redwood Rollers have several players that are playing right now and will be playing in the second game.
I mean, that's just a situation of having a team that hails from a larger area.
Less skaters to choose from in our pool here. We always need more. Join our training camp at HumboldtRollerDerby.com.
So here we go. And breaking loose is Pyro Fight for Supernovas, and Cherry Bomber goes ahead and breaks through for Humboldt. Pyro Fight tries the Bully Elliott situation, slams into the Humboldt tripod, and then calls off the jam as to say, what? Maybe I made a mistake.
Super quick jam. Supernovas, they called it with 1 point. They just barely dipped their toes in there after that first pass. Took one and called it.
Well, you know, we haven't seen a jammer for Supernovas really go after that kind of line smash that Bully Elliott has got away with all night.
But you have the physicality of Bully Elliott. You don't have to go around. You can just go through.
It's Mad Plow Disease breaking through her first time in the jam. And she's coming up on the inside. Oh, move. Went ahead and jumped the edge. What a fantastic move, Mad Plow Disease. Where have you been all night? And here she comes around on the outside, pushing Jean-Luc Picard, and then doing a spin move and picking up more points. Outstanding. Probably the most exciting jam of the night for Humboldt. Bad Plow Disease coming up. Also loose and scoring now for the Supernovas is the good old Detroit Demon.
That kind of jam makes you wonder why they haven't put Mad Plow out there as a jammer sooner.
Well, I mean, it's now the time to start trying people.
I guess there's nothing to lose. We can only gain from here with this kind of deficit.
Humboldt did win the session 10-8.
I think we're going to be seeing more of Mad Plow disease in the jamming position in the second half. If that's any clue there.
So there you go.
Impressive apex jump there. Like I said, not a lot of skaters can do that. Definitely successful, and that's what put her in the lead jammer position and was able to get those points.
So a pile as we go towards number one, and it's Knives that are breaking loose, as well as Peaches and Scream is going to take it on the pivot. The panty was passed. And so around for more points, Peaches and Scream. The jam is called off by Knives for Supernova, but that was a very nice play of passing the panty and the pivot coming up with some points. Humboldt wins that session as well, and it's 157-72.
It's not too late for Humboldt to turn it around. I'm not saying it's easy, but they can still do it. A lot can happen in 20 minutes here.
Okay, so here we are getting ready for jam number 8. Pushing hard as things are backed up, but Annie Mel gets through for Supernovas, and then difficult time for Travanian Devil as they are still held up at the end of the turn 2, finally breaking loose and can come on a scoring pass. Meanwhile, Annie Mel is coming around for her second attempt. And Braun-Luc Picard is going to engage her first up there in turn 3, try to push her out. Things are being held up. Now Travanian Devil breaks through. She's going to go ahead and score for Humboldt as points are being earned also by Annie Mel for the Supernovas. There's Lucille Balls, who's delivered the big hits of the night, and she's going to ride Travanian Devil and not knock her out. Travanian Devil is still up and in scoring position. 169.80. There's an apex jump by Annie Mel on the second corner, and down goes Travanian Devil. These players are tired at this point in the game. And Annie Mel still scoring for the Supernovas. This might go the full 2 minutes. It would be the first jam of the second half that has gone that long.
Sure looks like it.
Root Force looks tired. A 2-minute jam is up. The Supernovas double up on Humboldt 24-12.
Supernova is definitely going a lot slower now, taking their time, letting that jam run out. I think they're just kind of taking this lead and just running out that clock. Not trying to exhaust their skaters any further if it's not necessary.
Hey, KCCH is a listener-supported community radio station on the air at 96.7. We need your help to sustain and improve our service to the community. Consider becoming a patron with a one-time donation of $20. Become a sustaining member for as little as $5 a month. You can listen to a roller derby bout for $5 a month. How about that? Find out how at patron.com, KCCH_community radio. And we're still looking for underwriters. Jump on this bus for the Humboldt Roller Derby broadcast. Connect to us at information@accesshumboldt.net or 707-443-9352, extension 101 to find out more. You can support the Humboldt Roller Derby and KCCA. Show the community that you care.
We see a lot of caring community members here tonight. You can hear the Humboldt Roller Derby blowhards, all of the volunteers, like the amazing fans.
How many volunteers work a doubleheader here at Francisci Hall?
You know, I don't know the exact count, but I'd say there's probably hundreds, including all the people that aren't here tonight working on the off season and outside of game days with the rental hall, maintaining the track for practices. There's just so much involved in the sport.
Well, we're getting started again. We're down here gummed up in turn one, as usually starts out, until Bully Elliott. My goodness, Bully Elliott taking on Slam Chowder straight away. Meanwhile, Carhartt Crash is really exhausted at this point. Great defense by Supernovas, and Bully Elliott is just a star among stars. However, Bully Elliott is now going to the penalty box for pushing, and that means there's no person on the track that can score points for Supernovas, and Carhartt Crash is busted loose.
Carhartt Crash taking advantage of the has the only jammer on the track right now, but yeah, she's definitely been through it tonight. You can see her getting up slower. She's moving a lot slower, taking her time, trying to use any energy that she has just to get through this track and be able to sprint around and get those points in the second half.
Okay, Bully Elliott comes looming out of the penalty box and delivers a blow right off as we go into turn one. Carhartt Crash down on the ground. Bully Elliott spinning, turning, hammering, and now it's broken loose once again. Carhartt Crash very tired, hardly moving at all. Bully Elliott, my goodness. Take her on at your own risk. She's been a devastating player tonight.
Skaters on the floor right now.
The jam is called off by Carhartt Crash. And Crash is exactly what has been occurring, working so hard.
You know, it's hard when the opposing team's helping you up off the floor.
Well, are most people nice? I mean, as far as sportsmanship and whatnot?
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of nice sportsmanship, but during a game or right between jams, you don't see that very often. Skaters helping each other up. I think they could see the look of defeat on her face.
So timeout here. It is
an official timeout.
The officials are going to go ahead and group. 96.7 KCCH Radio, bringing you Humboldt Roller Derby. Not a pretty sight tonight. 185 to 88, the Supernovas. This is the second bout of the season for Route Force. They easily defeated Floodwater in their first bout back in March. Excuse me, back in February, but not tonight.
Yeah, second game of the season, but only the first game of this evening. We still have a really exciting game coming up. Hopefully it'll be a little bit easier for Humboldt's team to take a lead in this next game with the Redwood Rollers facing Santa Cruz Harbor Hellcats.
Well, I'll tell you, it's the task is not going to get any easier. We've got the fifth ranked team in the region, in the Santa Cruz team. And it's interesting, you said if Humboldt plays them close, they can improve their ranking. But if I'm looking right now, if there are players that are going to cross and play both games, you've got some banged up Route Force players right now.
For those Humboldt Roller Derby players, with just a short break between games, to have to go and play that second game. Brown Luke Picard was one of those. Slam Chowder is one of those. But we do have a lot of fresh skaters, so we'll just have to see what happens there.
So getting ready for jam number 10 of the half, 14:29 to go. It's 185 to 88 as Cherry Bomber is going to bust through with some nifty moves along the side, and she is followed by Pyro Fight right off. So Cherry Bomber will have the first chance to score some points as she comes into turn 2 and meets the Supernovas and then calls the jam off.
You saw Brown Lake Picard helping out Cherry Bomber there, giving her a little push. You are allowed to touch your teammates. So you can push your jammer along, help them out of the pack. If anyone saw that movie, like Whip It, you can do a whip where you grab onto your teammate's arm and kind of use your momentum to toss them along the track, give them that speed. So there's a lot of different maneuvers that the teams can use. We'll see if Humboldt digs in a little bit there in the second half and close this gap.
Well, Humboldt has scored much better here in the second half. Remember, they only had 41 points at the end of the first half. They're up to 90 right now. We still have over 13 minutes to go in the half. Great defense there by Stash at Thrash. Has got a hip on Detroit Demon, and now the Demon is loose. And the Detroit Demon is coming around with an opportunity to try to score some points. And we'll take on the center of the Humboldt line here down in turn 1 and break through. Meanwhile, a Humboldt jammer, not Lisa, has just been banged up and gummed up the whole time and has yet to break through. Detroit Demon on another round to try to score, meeting Daddy Longlegs there. The Detroit Demon is coming on to the Humboldt players at the end of turn 2 and trying to fight through. Meanwhile, Humboldt, not Lisa, not able to break through at all. The Detroit Demon scoring. And Humboldt has their jammer, not Lisa, in the penalty box. And the Detroit Demon just skating and scoring at will. Another Humboldt player goes into the penalty box. Humboldt, too many penalties tonight. And they're down 2 skaters. And they're down 107 points.
I think it's really been coming down to the penalties tonight that have been the biggest disadvantage for Humboldt this evening. Just a lot of time with the jammer in the box tonight.
And for the first time this season, we see the team pass the 200-point mark. And they're going to call off the jam. 16-0 run by the Supernovas. And there's a timeout as the score now reads Supernovas 201, Humboldt 90.
We got another team timeout. Not sure which team called this one. Judging by the bench, it looks like Humboldt called the team, but it's not a lot of strong blocking this time. Purple sticky punch really holding that outside line. Daddy Longlegs working as that anchor in the tripod situation. Really going back to basics. We're seeing a lot of that tripod blocking. 3 blockers coming together as one anchoring, 2 holding back, making that wall. Both teams using that strategy. It's just working out a lot better for Supernovas tonight.
What's the most points you've ever seen scored in a game?
You know, I don't know off the top of my head. I'm not really great with numbers, honestly, Paul. I'll say maybe I'll say 500, but I don't know.
500?
I have no idea.
Oh my God.
I'll have to see what was the highest scoring game ever. I have to look that up now during our halftime break.
All right. Do know that KCCH is the only radio station that brings you the voices of our community on a daily basis. Local voices, government meetings, youth and radio, local news, and roller derby. Opinions are worth supporting, so go to kcch.accesshumboldt.net. A faster break out of the jam to start jam 13 as Knives is the jammer for Supernovas. Humboldt has their jammer, not Lisa, in the box, so they have no chance to score.
Same problem Humboldt's been having all night. They can't keep their people out of the box. Oh, not Lisa is out now, though.
Not Lisa able to get out and break away. and has an opportunity to score, but we have the jam being called off by Knives.
Cut the track, so she's going to the box now.
Okay, so they did not call it off. They sent Knives to the box, and not Lisa gets hammered. That's number 42 making the play there.
7-11, not Lisa, just frozen on the track right there, stuck behind the Supernova blockers.
I should have said number 421, Scarlett Bronny made the hit, but not Lisa. Filing through, scoring some points.
You can see her kind of holding on to her lower back there, adjusting her equipment a little bit.
Humboldt looks beat up in this one. But currently they are ahead on this session. Oh, and another Humboldt skater goes down in the far corner as this Supernova team, they are ruffians.
Yeah, Humboldt's definitely feeling it tonight. They're definitely not as fresh and fast as they were when we started this game.
So they're going to call off the jam with just 10 seconds left. They played a full minute and 50 there, but now they're going to line up for jam number 13. Humboldt did win that session 7-0. Humboldt has one more session here in this second half, and they have scored 56 points. So they're having more success than they've had. But it has come at a cost. It has been a very physical, draining game for the Root Force.
High penalties, and I'm worried about more penalties now that players are getting tired. You get a little more sloppy on the track. It's not as clean. We already have three players starting out this next jam, one on the Supernova, or two on the Supernovas, and a blocker for a couple of rollers. But they do have three strong blockers on the track right now. Let's see if they can hold back that Supernova's jammer.
So that's an interesting point to bring up. And that point is if you're tired, you're going to wind up committing more penalties. Why is that?
It's just like anything else, when you're tired, you make mistakes. It just gets a little bit sloppy. Your technique isn't as good. Your form's not as great. And once you get beat down, nothing. It's just like driving a car. You don't want to do that when you're tired either.
It's just like anything else, except large, fast people are slamming into you.
Definitely, you can get more injuries when you're tired too. So skaters have to be extra careful, and the refs are going to be extra vigilant calling those penalties.
So the Supernovas come back on. It looks like teams are at even strength now, 4 apiece. But it's Humboldt that has the jammer, and that's Carhartt Brush back for more. Meanwhile, the jammer Knives for Supernovas is in the penalty box, and look who's playing blocker now, Bully Elliott. Man, Bully Elliott has been the player of the game. Now, here comes Knives. Back into the game. Knives is the jammer, knocked out that time by Bridge of Khazad-dûm. And Carhartt Crush trying to fight their way out of turn 3 and will get through and score some points. A gutty effort by Carhartt Crush, exhausted, going for more. Humboldt is ahead 4-0 in this current configuration. Oh, and look who they passed the panty to. That's no fun. They passed the panty to Bully Elliott. Oh, man. There you go. Carhartt Crush thankfully calls off the rush before Bully Elliott comes to, wreak some havoc on the Humboldt blockers.
Carhartt Crush just really leaving it all on the track. I don't know how much more she's going to have to give. Bully Elliott, just the easy choice. She's proved that she's a successful jammer and blocker, able to play both those positions. So I can see why Supernovas would be so quick to pass her that panty after having any kind of struggle.
Is that a hard thing to be, both a good jammer and a block?
It's just different skill sets. I would say it's hard during practice. You practice both positions, but there's always one that you're more comfortable with. And I don't know if there's a lot of skaters that can do both, but those are the ones that you want in the pivot position, able to do both.
Yeah, that is an interesting point. Is that the hardest position to play, the pivot?
Oh, if there's any one that's the hardest, but pivot definitely, because you're communicating with your team and blocking and watching out for that helmet pass. You could become a jammer at any time.
Annie Mel called off the jam before Cherry Bomber got there.
We talked a lot about how these players are getting beat up, how they're getting they're down by like 100 points right now, but they're still all smiles and high fives on the track. Get these skaters down. Spirits are still high.
Well, that says something about the team, because it has been a very tough night, physical night. Lining up for jam number 15. Here we go. Oh, what a block by Flux Capic Hitter. Man, we're going to have to work on that name.
Capacitor, I think.
What?
It's like flux capacitor, but flux capacitor, like
What is flux capacitor?
Back to the Future.
Huh?
Loves here showing their players showing their personality and hobbies and interests in their names.
There was decades culturally. I was kind of out to lunch. Speaking of lunch, speaking of culture, the Brio is one of our sponsors. They are a bistro style cafe right there on the plaza in Arcata. Coffee, wine, open daily until 2:00. So you can go there and talk roller derby.
You can also get more information at the Humboldt Roller Derby's Facebook page. They talk about skaters and events.
The Detroit Demon. Now that's a name that's been easier for me.
Yes.
The Detroit Demon. Sounds like the team maybe that used to be from Detroit. There's been a passing of the panty, and Slam Chowder, the pivot, has gone to the jammer position. And here they come for a scoring run and are met early and pushed out. Now back on the track. Not giving up and breaking through. Scoring. Fantastic determination there by Slam Chowder. Coming around for another attempt at score, cutting to the inside, and a great job there, eluding the blockers of the Supernovas. But now the Supernovas, they've had enough of that. Here comes Lucille Balls, and they are taking on Slam Chowder right now and driving Slam Chowder to her knees over in turn number 3. You need a monster enforcer or two, and you need, and Lucille Balls knocks Slam Chowder down. You need a monster enforcer, and you need speed and power at the jammer spot. That's what these teams have had that have been so successful as of late. 3:24 to go in the game. It's 2-12 to 117. Slam Chowder has outscored the Detroit Demon 12-4 on her personal jam, and the jam is going to go the whole distance.
Full 2-minute jam.
A full 2-minute jam. Also want to thank Juan Pablo Cervantes. Juan Pablo Cervantes on our last broadcast reminding us all to vote, but we've got the big one that's eventually going to come up in November. So if you didn't get registered, go ahead and do that. We want to thank Juan Pablo Cervantes for his underwriting. I want to thank the Speakeasy, a New Orleans-style bar, craft cocktails, local fresh ingredients. Here comes jam number 18 starting. And their support, open nightly. Cherry Bomber breaks loose. Everybody's trying to score some of their last points of the game. Cherry Bomber getting some good speed as coming around and cutting to the inside. Oh, hammered hard. Hit hard. I think that was Kilmore Girls, who played a lot in this game as a jammer, as a block there, making that play.
I think the skaters that do jam regularly, they're better at looking and seeing those holes or where the jammer might want to try to get out. A lot of times it's on the inside of the track there. But we saw in that last one, who was that? One of the Humboldt players trying to get in on the inside, getting knocked out of there, going on the outside, and then having to bust through the middle. Sometimes you just can't take some of those outside lanes, even though it might be a little more tempting. It's a lot easier to get pushed out and possibly get that penalty. Plus, when you get knocked out of the track, if you're out of bounds, you have to come in behind the player that pushed you out, even if they go reverse direction.
Okay. Also want to thank the Rennie Law Group. They are a public law firm that accepts negotiations and cases with public entities. I want to thank them for their support. You're listening to 96.7 KCZH. We're heading down to the end of this game, but remember, don't go away. We have game 2. That should start right around 8 o'clock. We'll have some festivities in between games. I'll be talking with Slam Chowder as one of our halftime activities. And Nate's going to come and talk to you. He's going to be talking to some folks while we get a quick breather. Here we go. What looks like it could be the last jam of the game. Now, and Bully Elliott. It's been the bully pulpit, too. It's unbelievable. But Bully Pulpit called for a Bully Elliott called for a penalty, and now there's no jammer on the track for Supernovas. Meanwhile, Tasmanian Devil has broken through, and the Tasmanian Devil will have an opportunity to score some points. Here she comes into turn 2, going to the inside, and that's going to be successful. That was a fantastic play following the lead. And now they're going to call off the jam.
Maybe this will be our final jam now.
50 seconds to go. Humboldt picked up 8 points there. They've got it to within 100. Oh, they say 4 points. 221 to 125. I mean, Humboldt almost scored 100 points in the second half. They played very well. They haven't given up by any means.
The nice thing about roller derby too is even with a score deficit like this, it's still, every jam is just as exciting. Every jam is like a little mini competition, seeing who's going to get out first. We can still find enjoyment of that, even if we don't think there's any chance of actually winning the game.
Mad Plow Disease is in there for Humboldt right now, looking good, is trying to fight to the front, but this ball game is over time-wise. Do they have to finish the jam?
Yeah, she and Bully Elliott can now call that jam if she chooses, see what she wants to do. And an experienced skater, she knows what she's doing. So
I think Bully Elliott just wants to run into some more people.
Was choosing the VIP, I think that would be my choice for the Supernovas this evening. Oh yeah, just for moves like that, the agility on those skates, that footwork is just incredible.
Bully Elliott, one of the finest performances we've seen here by home or visitor, sending Daddy Longlegs flying as she smashes into his back and then just goes ahead and spins around. Bully Elliott wearing number 5678. finally for Humboldt, Torque and Beans is going to break through. Torque and Beans was the pivot. She'd been past the panty. Bully Elliott is finally out, driven out, and that's going to be the game.
That was the game. Lots of high fives and smiles. Despite the loss, Humboldt Roller Derby, they don't look like losers over here. They're still giving high fives and lots of smiles and hugs after that game.
Well, the final score, 231 to 125. So that's the final score in game one. Jealousy and I will be back for game two, which is going to feature the 5th ranked team in the region, the Santa Cruz Hellcats, against the Redwood Rollers. They're going to be looking for their first win, having dropped their first 2 of the season. So we'll see you at the end of the break. Next up is going to be Kate with interviews and facts here about Humboldt Roller Derby. Thank you.
All right, and welcome back to Humboldt Roller Derby. I am Nate Dogg. We're going to give Paul and Chelsea a little break during this halftime. I want to welcome everybody listening to CPH 96.7 FM. And of course, everybody worldwide watching the Access Humboldt stream, YouTube, and on Access Humboldt live stream channel on our website. I want to let you know that keep it here because in about 7 minutes, we're going to be interviewing Slam Chowder from the Humboldt Roller Derby team, Group Force. Slam Chowder will be interviewed in just about 7 minutes, so keep it right here. This is Humboldt Roller Derby, live broadcast, live stream from Francisco Hall at Redwood Acres Fairgrounds here in Humboldt County. And I have somebody with me here. I have my good friend Joe, and this is his first time watching the roller derby. Joe, what do you think of the derby?
I just watched. Oh, look at these mustaches. They're having a blast out there.
Yeah, the next team, Santa Cruz, from Santa Cruz, they're all wearing fake mustaches. I'm not sure if all of them are fake, but I know some of them are. So, Joe, what do you think of your of this experience here at Humboldt Roller Derby?
It's a blast. I mean, what a better way to spend a Saturday? Come out here and watch these girls give it their all out here. I mean, it's been quite the experience.
It is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun to be here. It's a lot of fun to watch. Sometimes kind of painful to watch as these young ladies are slamming pretty hard on the concrete floor. And I have yet to see any blood and no broken bones, so we're doing good. And but I'm surprised. You know they're gonna have some bruises when they get home for sure.
It's not patented concrete. It's the real deal.
It's the real deal. That is concrete right there. Not only that, too, but it's probably pretty cold. It's kind of chilly here. Oh, that's right. This is the Humboldt Roller Derby. I do want to remind you, keep it here. Slam Chowder. And here she comes right now. Slam Chowder. We'll be here to interview us in just a minute.
In 5 minutes.
Yeah, just about 5 minutes. She just came by to check in. And so she will be back. That's Slam Chowder being interviewed here. I do also want to remind those listening that if you like what you're hearing, you can support this radio program and live stream program. You can be an underwriter of the Humboldt Roller Derby live on KZZH 96.7 FM and Access Humboldt TV. All you have to do to be an underwriter is contact Access Humboldt. You can do that by emailing info@accesshumboldt.net. That's .net, info@accesshumboldt.net. You can also give us a call at 707-443-9352 during office hours. And that's Tuesday through Friday from 9 to 5. You call Access Humboldt during any of those hours and you will get me. I will answer the phone and take your request to be an underwriter for Humboldt Roller Derby. Right here on KZZH 96.7 FM and Access Humboldt TV. All right. So, Joe,
Yes.
what do you think? I know you said it's awesome. Give me some more thought. What do you think?
Well, I'm doing important things right now. I'm trying to count how many people did not get the memo about the mustaches. I believe 2, if my count is correct.
Let me ask you this, Joe. I know I had trouble when I first started watching roller derby last year, and it took me a little while to understand the rules of the game and how the game is played. How are you coming along with that, Joe?
Well, I mean, I'm a little confused as to how it happens, but basically, if you break through, then you do get those points, right?
That's right. That's right. We have jammers and blockers, and the jammers are the ones with the star on their helmet. And they're the ones that score the points. So, yeah, they get around the other team. They get a point, I do believe. And they go around the whole rink again and pass everybody again. They get 4 more points. And they rack up, obviously, because last game it was the Supernovas with 233 and the Humboldt Root Force with 125. I hope the next game.
That game wasn't particularly close.
It was not. Although, you can never really tell when watching the bouts go on, the jams go on. All right, we got some notes. We got some notes coming to us. Remember, keep it here. We will have an interview with Slam Chowder coming up next.
For halftime game 2.
Okay,
All right, I got a message here coming. Give me 1 second.
Here's our Supernovas MVP picks for Root Force in the last game.
What?
Supernovas picks for MVPs in the previous game.
Okay.
So those are Root Force players that we nominated as MVPs.
That's it.
You guys know we're heading to the win for the go.
All right, I was just told we're going to have some MVP announcements here coming up once Paul is back. And Joey, did you hear the theme song? You probably didn't hear the theme song. We have our own theme song here for the Humboldt Roller Derby on KZCH 96.7 FM.
what is the theme song?
Oh man, what was the? I forgot the title. It was a really funny title, but it's a good song, and it was done by a man that's here behind me right now. Not Paul, but the other guy behind me. Oh, it's called Rink Rash. Rink Rash is the name of our theme song. Yeah. And it is a lot of fun. You will be hearing it in and out the broadcast here on KZH. And again, we at Access Humboldt and KZH would like your support. You can underwrite these efforts. To underwrite, email info@accesshumboldt.net. That's info@accesshumboldt.net. Or call 707-443-9352. Give me a call. My name is Nate Dogg. Call Access Humboldt Tuesday through Friday, 9 to 5. And I will take your call and take your underwriting. All right. My name's Nate Dogg. We are sitting here with Joe. We're going to get back to it. I'm going to give it back up to Paul. And again, he'll be interviewing Slam Chowder. Slam Chowder coming up right here on KCH 96.7 FM and Access Humboldt TV.
Make a difference. Donate to a College of the Redwood scholarship. This week, we're highlighting the Colin Bibler Memorial Scholarship Fund. Colin Bibler was prominent in our local theater community and was a former student at CR. Colin's life was dramatically changed when he was diagnosed with a schizoaffective disorder. His family established this scholarship to support students living in Humboldt County who are pursuing their education despite mental health setbacks. Google College of the Redwoods, click on the donate button, and support the Colin Bibler Memorial Scholarship Fund today.
Welcome back to Franceschi Hall. We're going to have an interview here at halftime. Halftime of the doubleheader tonight with the Humboldt Roller Derby. The second game features the Redwood Rollers versus the number 5 ranked team in the region, the Santa Cruz Hellcats. I'm talking with Slam Chowder. Can I call you Slam?
Yeah, this is my Chowder, actually.
Chowder. Okay, so Chowder. Tell me, you're going to play 2 games tonight. What's that like?
It's exhausting. It can be exhausting, yeah. But I think, I'm really energized, and I love skating with both teams, so I'm excited.
Is that something that you set out to do? Is that something that players volunteer for, playing 2 games of the doubleheader?
It's call it crossover skater, which means that I often play on both teams. Yeah, so I'm ranked on, sometimes on our A team and sometimes on the B team. Yes,
now, crossover skater, also, I noticed you played the pivot a lot in the last game. So that's kind of a crossover skater, too, because you spend most of your time blocking, but you can also have the panty pass. And
so I'm playing the pivot in the A team.
What do you play for the A team?
The brace of the pack. So the person that's on the pointy end of the triangle. Well, I guess there's 3 pointy ends, but the one facing down the track towards the jammer.
Oh, so the first one that comes into contact.
That's it. Which is we call them butts. They're the ones that make first contact with the jammer, and I'm facing head on with the jammer. So it's easier for this strategically for my position to help track the jammer because I have eyes on them. So I'm doing a lot of backward skating.
And then also, if you're doing a lot of backward skating, are you directing your 2 other people in the triangle toward the skater and trying to get them in the way?
Yes, yeah, that's a big part of the role that the brace plays is to help, just sort of give direction where the jammer is, where we should be on the track, help leading us. We all need to reform. We need to skate up. We need to reform in the front. Although I am a relatively new skater, so I often also listen to my teammates who are vet skaters. And sometimes they help me make the calls.
Now, you say you're a relatively new skater. How long have you been doing this?
In 2018. And then I moved away shortly after to the Bay Area, and I skated with Bay Area Derby for a little bit with actually a few of the skaters that were here tonight with the Supernovas. But then the pandemic happened, and I was pretty fresh. We didn't skate for like 3 years, and then I moved back. So this is my first full season with Bay Derby.
Okay, so I'm watching these bouts. Some of these teams are big.
Yeah, like statue.
The diamond, statue. But more like statues on stage.
I need to work for this warm up.
Oh, you need to be out there for the warm up?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry to.
No problem. But anyway, it's the physicality of the game. It seems like, has it been difficult for the rollers? I know you've lost your first 2 bouts. Has it been difficult to keep up in the game, being outsized as you have been sometimes?
Yeah. I mean, that's part of it, I'm sure, but it's also, we're sort of in this rebuilding phase, where we're like kind of taking account of who we have on the track and what our skill level is. We're a lot different than we were in 2020 before the pandemic began. So we're excited to be here, but we are sort of reformulating, understanding who's on the track, what kind of skill we have. It's a rebuilding period for us.
Well, then you better get back out on the track and get warming up. But thank you for coming over. And
thank you.
Rock me.
Back here at Franceschi Hall, Paul Versu, KZZH 96.7 radio. And we are broadcasting the doubleheader tonight here with the Humboldt Roller Derby. First game was a rough one as the Root Force went down to a conglomerate team from the Bay Area, the Supernovas, that had a tremendous lineup and jammer supreme in Bully Elliott scoring at will in that first game. They racked up over 200 points and beat Humboldt by 100 points. The second game is going to be no bargain either, because the second game is going to feature the Santa Cruz Hellcats, which are the 5th ranked team in the Western region. Humboldt comes in as the 39th ranked team in the region. Their rankings have actually fallen given the fact that they are off to an 0-2 start. Last time we saw them was in February, and they were dominated by the Bakersfield Diamond Divas. That night featured a very big physical Diamond Diva team and a very tough night for the Humboldt Jammers as far as getting loose and getting in positions where they could score. Humboldt has since gone on the road and lost a game up in Salem, Oregon to Cherry City Roller Derby. And now it's back here tonight for the game with the Santa Cruz Hellcats. So we're getting close to starting as Humboldt finishing their warm-ups. You've got quite a few players: Daddy Longlegs, Slam Chowder, Braun Luke Picard, that are playing in 2 games tonight. And that could be an issue because that first game was physical and rough, and Humboldt did not fare well. And then how does that work out here as Santa Cruz is going to have all the fresh taste? So we're getting some changes in the officiating crews. We'll get those to you as we go. I want to give you thanks for our underwriters, the Speakeasy, the New Orleans inspired custom built bar with seasonal craft cocktails, local fresh ingredients, and live jazz and blues music. Open 7 days a week from 4 to 11 p.m. The Speakeasy can be found at 411 Opera Alley in Eureka. I want to thank Juan Pablo Cervantes for going ahead and supporting Humboldt Roller Derby, sponsoring it by himself. Remember, Juan Pablo Cervantes ran the elections for Humboldt County as the registrar and was a very busy man this last month or so, and will be again in November. I want to also thank the Brio Cafe. The Brio Cafe comes European-style bistro with casual and organic bites and baked goods, plus artisanal coffees and local wines. Open 7 days a week from 8:30 to 2:30. Brio can be found at 791 G Street on the Arcata Plaza. And, of course, the Rennie Law Group. Support for Humboldt Roller Derby comes from the Rennie Law Group, providing legal services to public agencies throughout California practicing public law and public interest. Find more by going to RenniePublicLawGroup.com or by calling 415-848-7200. And you can become a sponsor of Roller Derby yourself or a sponsor of KZZH Community Radio. We're a listener-supported community radio station. We're on the air at 96.7. We need your help to sustain and improve our service to the community. Consider becoming a patron with a one-time donation of $20. Become a sustaining member for as little as $5 a month. We are the only station bringing you the voice of our community on a daily basis. If you think local voices, government meetings, youth and radio, local news and opinions are worth supporting and sustaining, excuse me, go to kczhacesshumboldt.net and click on the donation now link. All right, the teams are gathering. A minute to go until the start. We're going to have a reshuffling of the referees for this game. They will remain the same. Megalodonna, Hellwood, Quake, Meow, Missy, and Pitfall and Sadie are the referees. It takes that many referees. You've got referees that are on the outside of the pack. You've got referees that are on the inside of the pack, looking for fouls, looking for violations as far as staying in or out of the on the track. But you have two very important referees, and in this game, it's going to be Meow and Pitbull, and they are the jam referees, and they go ahead and they look at the jammers, and they make sure to count accurately the points that the jammers score as they pass the blockers. So that's how you score in roller derby, and so you need two officials that are directly on them. Now, the Santa Cruz team, interestingly enough, many of them are wearing fake mustaches. Maybe they can be described as the porno mustache, I think, in certain circles. But the players are wearing, some of them are wearing fake mustaches. That's the first time we've seen that here at Franceschi Hall this season. And they're being announced proudly with a rainbow flag, mustaches, and they're going to take a lap around the track. They wear white jerseys with black numbers and a wave pattern on the bottom of their jersey. They have black pants, very uniform. Santa Cruz written across the front. So that's their look. Humboldt is going to be, the Redwood Rollers are going to be wearing the black jerseys with red trim and black pants. They were also very much more uniform, say, than the when the force came out, the Redwood force in the first game. So the announcements for Santa Cruz are happening. They're slowly going around the track. Tightly knit bunch as they keep their formation together. Should note that Chelsea won't be joining us here in game 2. An issue has come up. Everything is okay, but she's going to be unable to be on the second half of the broadcast. So going to have to do it by myself here in game 2. So now the announcement for the home team, Redwood Rollers. So the PA announcer going ahead and giving the backdrop to the game. As paying tribute to the Santa Cruz Hellcats. Welcoming them. And so here is the announcement of the Redwood Rollers. We're in KCCH 96.7. Bringing you the second game of the doubleheader. This is the game that counts. Think of it as a varsity game. This is the game where teams earn rankings. This is the game where the best players are on the track for each team. Of course, we saw some great players in that last game, though. That's for sure. So announcing the lineup. You've got about 80% of the team for Humboldt that's going to be skating in their first match. But some players are going to be in for the second time tonight. We'll get a thought right off as to how the first jams are going. That was the problem for Humboldt against the Diamond Divas, was the inability to break loose their jammers and never get in scoring position. So players slapping hands with the Santa Cruz Hellcats. And we're going to be ready to start in the first jam coming up shortly. And there's Slam Chowder, who graciously gave us her time when she came and was interviewed during halftime. And there they go. So lap around to wave to the fans for the Redwood Rollers. A tall task tonight. Taking on the number 5 team in the region. And Santa Cruz is heading out for their first jam. Waiting at the line. They'll looks like they're going to put their players up front tight, bunched. The Jammers are taking their spot behind the lines. Hard to see who they are right now because they are dwarfed by the blockers of each team. And we are getting ready to start. And there's the whistle. And it's a false start. Now we're going to try again. There's the whistle. And immediately breaking through for Humboldt in a one-on-one situation is a good play there by Cloverkill. Flaming Fox is the Santa Cruz player, and Cloverkill is scoring some points. Humboldt's going to take an early lead. Sunny Days is the jammer for Santa Cruz, and she has broken loose. The jam is called off. The Hellcats actually wind up scoring 4 points, as did Cloverkill. So after the first jam of the night, the score is 4. Actually, it's 4-0 Redwood Rollers. Here we go. They took those 4 points off the board for the Hellcats because they said the jam was cold before Sunny Days was able to get past the Redwood Roller blockers. Bunched up tight at the line for the jam, and it is a scrum. But breaking loose, fantastic. Tasmanian Devil playing in her second straight game, and Amanaconda breaks loose for Santa Cruz. So everybody is in a scoring position, and Tasmanian Devil puts her shoulder down, lowers the boom into turn 1 and scores some points, and then calls off the jam. And maybe this is a strategy that Humboldt's going to use. Quick hitting points, and then go ahead and not let things develop for Santa Cruz. 8-0 in favor of Humboldt. Releasing the jammers far better than I saw in the Bakersfield game. So we're getting ready for jam number 3. And here's another breakaway. Fantastic. Chakra Punch is in scoring position as she goes back into turn 1 and is going to get a good block there from Peaches and Scream. A screenplay that has her bust loose. It looks like they're going to pull the, try to pass the panty on the Santa Cruz side. But meanwhile, Chakra Punch is scoring. They do pass the panty to number 95, Splendor. And once again, another round. We got a player down for Santa Cruz. That's Tornado 2 Spirit. Had a problem with the skate and went out. It is 20-0. A dream start, at least for the first 3 minutes and 10 seconds for the Humboldt Redwood Rollers. The key for the Rollers is simply they've got their people released. Jammers on the loose and making the plays, and Humboldt goes ahead 20-0. And appropriately, the band goes into free ride, which is exactly what Chakra Punch had going around the track. And she was not engaged at all by Santa Cruz. So far, Santa Cruz hasn't looked very physical. So they're going to play deeper here as we get ready for jam number 3. Santa Cruz is going to be much deeper and not trying to meet them right at the line. $20-0. Santa Cruz talking some strategy. Sunny Days goes from the jammer and is going to go ahead and become the pivot. And is the jammer? The jammer is in the penalty box for Santa Cruz. It was penalties that killed Humboldt in the first game. Carl Sparks playing her second game. Bulls over 3. Bulls over 3 Hellcats in turn 1 and is now in scoring position, coming back down to turn run and takes on the blockers for Santa Cruz. But Humboldt doing a great job of trying to release her. Remember, they can't help their own teammate. And in turn 2, finally, here comes the jammer for Santa Cruz trying to pass the panty. Meanwhile, Carl Sparks scored 4 points there, and it's 24-0. And Carl Sparks slides through again. An incredible start against the number 5 team in the region. It's 24-0. So Carl Sparks is going to take on Santa Cruz again. A wonderful, wonderful, wonderful screen there by Rotten Tulacor to help spring Sparks. Sparks is coming around again. This is a 12-0 session and a 32-0 lead and 4 more. My goodness. Redwood Rollers coming out with a sensational start. Carl Sparks is still scoring and calls off the jam. Let's see the points get added together for this one. At least 16 on the jam. But that's what it's going to be finally. It is 36-0. What a start. So the 4th jam of the game is going to start. There's a timeout. You're listening to 96.7 KZZH radio. The referee over here at the scorer's table is trying to work out that incredible run by the Redwood Rollers. The very problem that plagued them in the game against the Diamond Divas has been non-existent here at the moment because they are breaking loose and scoring at will. 36-0. You have to excuse me, folks. Our next bout will be on the radio on April 27th. And let's hope that every bout that we see from here on out has a start like this. It's been amazing. So everybody up close. This has been the strategy for Humboldt in all the jams so far. They want to engage quickly, and they've done a good job of that. And Bianca Swagger making some good plays, and that's Cloverkill getting loose. Actually, both jammers are loose now and skating side by side. Anaconda, she's going to get bumped by Cloverkill. Nice to see the jammers go at it a bit. And Cloverkill's going to kill the jam before they even reach the pack. So we'll see if that's a strategy to hold on to the lead. Jam number 5 is being lined up. Looks like Trevanian Devil, if I'm seeing correctly back there. It's hard to see them as they line up for the jams. It's been so tight. And a great breakaway there by Sunny Days for the Santa Cruz Hellcats, and she's coming into her first scoring position of the night and met hard by Humboldt and calls off the jam. Interesting. Sunny Days does put the first 3 points of the night on the board for Santa Cruz, 36-3. It's going to be Chakra Punch for the Rollers as their jammer. And we're going to look at the Santa Cruz. I believe it's Amanaconda. And starting it once again and breaking loose. My goodness, Chakra Punch. Great footwork along the inside, staying in bounds and doing the same thing here to score some points. And Santa Cruz just not as physical. Surprising. The number 5th ranked team in the region, and they have come out kind of soft, if you ask me. Meanwhile, Flaming Fox getting pushed around, and Chakra Punch is still on a scoring drive. 44-3. Chakra Punch has outscored the skater from Santa Cruz 8-0 in this session and make that 12-0 and a 48-3 lead. Now, you can score fast and in bunches here, but this is a very impressive start for the Redwood Rollers. 4 more for Chakra Punch. 52-7 is the score now, as Chakra Punch, another inside move, another apex jump, and she's going to call the jam. 20-8. Make that 20-12 in that session. Got a Santa Cruz coach talking to the officials now. I don't know what the issue could be. 56-14. That's an issue that may be concerning, is the lead that the Redwood Rollers have gone ahead and amassed so far. Once again, the Rollers are up tight at the jam line. Have not seen them play it like this, but it's been successful, very successful to start out this game. And this time it's Santa Cruz, Amanaconda that breaks through. And then also Carl Sparks playing her second game of the night. Here comes Amanaconda to try to get some points, and she's met by Rotten Tulacor. Three points awarded to the Hellcats, 56-17. We're getting ready for jam number 8. We're getting close to the 20-minute mark here in the first half. A near perfect start for Humboldt. Tight formation once again to start the jam, but breaking through immediately. My goodness. Cloverkill just shot out of there. She's followed by Sunny Days. So both jammers are in scoring position. We got people falling down all over the place as the blockers really taking each other on. Humboldt's going to get 3 points before the jam is pulled off, 59-17. And the teams will line up for the jam. Jam line is just above turn 1. All the action starts there. And as Chelsea told us, if the defense is really good, you'll see that gummed up for a long time and people not really breaking through. But this game has had more breaks, especially for Humboldt. Trying to break through now is Tasmanian Devil. And Tasmanian Devil is going to go ahead and go. She's now in scoring position. Flaming Fox, in the meantime, has been held back by the wonderful Humboldt defense. Oh, knocked out by Splendor is Tasmanian Devil. She'll get a couple points, but takes a hard fall. We've got a person going to the penalty box. So Santa Cruz is now down a player as Tasmanian Devil has outscored Santa Cruz 4-0. It makes a nifty spin move, and she's going to pick up 4 more points and then call the jam. Tasmanian Devil and Carl Sparks are 2 players that played in game 1. Maybe that has something to do with why they call the jam off. You've got 2 Santa Cruz Hellcats, including their pivot, in the penalty box, and you have 1 of the Redwood Rollers. Both teams have their jammers as we're getting lined up for jam number 10. And pushing and shoving to get started. Chakra punch, and she's only got to get around those 2 players, and does. So in scoring position coming up on the pack. Meanwhile, Humboldt, for a while there, was containing Beaky Butts, who's loose. And you've got Santa Cruz still 2 players down. Beaky Butts is coming up to the back of the pack, but just lapped by Chakra Punch, who calls the jam. Outstanding start, and that looks to be the strategy for Humboldt. They go ahead and call the jam when they score a few points and don't let Santa Cruz get a chance to catch up to the pack and get in scoring position. Teams once again bunched tightly at the jam line as jam number 11 is going to start. 16:14 to go here in the half. You're listening to KZZH 96.7, and it is Carl Sparks, and she's through. This is night and day as far as how well these jammers have got loose for Humboldt tonight, as opposed to how contained they were against the Bakersfield Diamond Demons. So Sparks scoring points, 4 on the session, and coming up to Santa Cruz once again. This Humboldt player heading for the penalty box. You've got the panty pass now to the pivot. It's a Manakanda who is going ahead and working as the jammer for Santa Cruz. She's also coming up on the first line of defense for Humboldt. That's number 80, Maud Behavior. And Maud Behavior is doing a good job one-on-one to get 2 of Humboldt in the penalty box. And Carl Sparks is able to score still ahead 8-0 in the session. Now Humboldt back at full string as Sparks flies through around turn 1 and is going to call the jam. 12-0 on the jam. Outstanding. 87-20 with 14:36 to go here in the first. Wow. There was nothing in game 1 that we saw here at Franceschi Hall that would have indicated that Humboldt would have come out like this. Although I did talk to Noam Recker before the game. They're going to find the final tally on that last jam was 16-3, so it's 91-23. I talked to Noam Recker, and she's been working as coach, and she said even though the team has taken a lumps the last 2 games, they have gone ahead and have an excellent attitude, and they realize they're in transition, and they're embracing that. Sunny Days breaks loose for Humboldt, and Cloverkill breaks loose for Humboldt. Humboldt line of defense keeping Sunny Days out, and she's going to call as Cloverkill was coming up her back, she's going to go ahead and call the jam and win that session by the score of 3-0. Santa Cruz, the fifth-ranked team in the region. Fifth-ranked team in the region. They find themselves down 91-26. They're going to back off a little bit and play a little softer zone here at the start of the jam, but Tasmanian Devil is going to get knocked out and have to go back to the front. In fact, she's going to have a penalty called against her, and this is that terrible position that exists sometimes when you have the jammer out and Humboldt with no way to score. They've just got to focus their blockers on defense, but breaking loose. It's Barry Blitz. Barry Blitz. I think I called her Beaky Blitz. Well, I got my blitzes wrong. Here she comes around to try to score again, and there's Slam Chowder and Rotten Tulacor and not able to stop her. So Barry Blitz is going to pick up some much-needed points for Santa Cruz. The Hellcats down by 61, 91-30. And she's pushing and shoving as they're going up the backstretch. And it breaks to the outside and able to pick up some more points. Meanwhile, Tasmanian Devil comes onto the track, and Barry Blitz is going to go ahead and call for the jam to come off. An 8-4 session in favor of Santa Cruz. It is 95-34. So this time, Humboldt is going to lay back in their defense, and at least that was what they first showed. They're now moving up to engage immediately on the jam line, and this has been a successful defense all night. But and it's still working. Going ahead and keeping Anaconda from any sort of breakaway. Meanwhile, Chakra Punch is in the penalty box, which is a terrible situation for Humboldt, meaning that they can't score if their jammer is in the box. Waiting for the penalty to end is Punch. Meanwhile, finally breaking through is Anaconda, and they are able to come on a scoring pass. Now, what's interesting about this is now there's two Humboldt players in the penalty box, and Chakra Punch comes out, meaning she can start to try to score some points, and she engages the Hellcats on the far end, and she is just incredible. Tight-roping the inside line. She's got a great smile on her face as she rounds the track and gets ready for some scoring possibilities. Wow, and immediately leveled. Who laid the hit on her for Santa Cruz? It was number 4140, Sasha DeGrader. 4-0 for the Hellcats, chipping away at it on the session. We are now into Jam 15, and we have just gone under 10 minutes to go here in the half. Here comes the jam, breaking through Cloverkill. Oh, knocked down by number 11, Skyscraper. And having to start against Sunny Days is taking on the Humboldt players. She has yet to break loose. Cloverkill, though, is on a scoring run now. She's free and she's ready. You're going to come in at Skyscraper and other Santa Cruz. She's going to pass three of them and pick up some points and then call off the jam. They're going to call it 4 points, make it 95-38. Hey, I want to thank the Speakeasy for their underwriting, the support of Humboldt Roller Derby, and the support of KZZH Radio 96.7. The Speakeasy is a New Orleans style craft cocktail bar in Opera Alley in Old Town in Eureka. So here we go. Starting again. And some rough stuff going on here. And Cloverkill, she got hit. She got stood up by Merciless Martinez and somehow kept her balance and kept going. And now she's in a scoring position, although Martinez and two other Hellcats have the tripod going, and they have her hung up in turn number 1, and they are really fighting, and she gets knocked out. And there are more players hitting the deck at the moment. Meanwhile, it's Barry Blitz, the pivot, who was past the panty and has become the jammer. 8:01 to go and a half, and I'd have to say this has been better than expected to start for Humboldt, 95-38. Barry Blitz coming up in a scoring position. Humboldt forming a wall. Let's see. And, oh, what a great hit. Bianca Swagger. That's going to send her to the penalty box. But you know what? If you're going to go to the penalty box, you want to have a hit like that. That was tremendous down here in turn 1. Humboldt has been the physical team. That was not the case against Bakersfield, the Diamond Divas, because the Diamond Divas dominated that game physically. Want to also thank Juan Pablo Cervantes for his underwriting. Get some rest, Juan Pablo, because the election is coming up soon enough in November at the end of the year, and they'll be busy all over again. And also the Rennie Law Group for their support, a public service legal firm that goes ahead and represents cities and public entities around the state of California. I also want to send a shout out to my friend, Tony Hardinger, who runs the Rennie Law Group, who came to his first roller derby bout tonight, or is at his first roller derby bout and enjoying it, as these fans are. A 59-point lead for Humboldt, 99-40. You've got 7:20 to go in the first. What a half for Humboldt. And they got it started early, and they got it started the way they had to get it started. They got it started with releasing the blockers so that they could get, releasing the jammers so they could get in scoring position and not be locked up and let the other team get a lead. Humboldt was not able to play from behind against the Diamond Divas. In fact, the more we watch the roller derby, it is hard to rally from behind because teams will use different defensive strategies, and they go ahead and tap out and stop the other team's ability to score. So a lot of strategy once people get ahead. Refs are huddling up. You're listening to 96.7 KZZH. You can become a supporter of KZZH. We have a patron level of one-time $20 donation for the year. We have a sustaining member of $5 a month. You can find out how to be a patron at patron.com, KZZH_community radio, 96.7 KZZH, community radio, and Access Humboldt television. This bout is going on television as well. So this is a simulcast, so to speak. Here we go. Get ready for the next jam. Santa Cruz coach out talking. Got to be wondering, you take the 5th-ranked team in the region and come into Humboldt, and all of a sudden, whammo, what a first half for the Rollers. Rollers are uptight. It's been a very formidable defense for them tonight. They're shorthanded because we have people in the penalty box. Tasmanian Devil, though, breaks loose, and Santa Cruz is trying to pass the panty because their jammer is gummed up and not able to break loose. Now the pivot will take the jammer panty and wear it, and Tasmanian Devil gets leveled and calls a time. Big hit there by Skyscraper. 105-40. Hey, I've noticed something. A lot of these Santa Cruz have taken off those mustaches they were wearing earlier in the game. A little bit of a bravado. They still got a couple out there, but not what we saw before, as they've been ambushed so far by the Redwood Rollers. We also have Sunny Days trying to break loose and will. So Sunny Days is the jammer that's now in scoring position. Chakra Punch is right there behind her. So two jammers trying to score neck and neck. You rarely see this. And Days calls off the jam. I don't believe any points were scored on that. And that is true. 5:34 to go in the half, 105-40. We have other celebrities in the stands tonight. Thomas Chan, author of the Humboldt Roller Derby theme song, Rink Rash. Now, if you heard it on a radio broadcast, it's fantastic. So he is in the audience tonight, enjoying his first bout. Here we are in jam number 20 so far in this game. That's a lot of jams for half. And breaking loose is Carl Sparks. And also breaking loose is Flaming Fox. So scoring opportunities, and Sparks runs into the tripod of Santa Cruz, is going to call off the jam. As Flaming Fox was coming around possibly to score some points there. I think Humboldt gets 1 point and increases the lead to 106-40. I think they're just trying to get into the half without having the Hellcats have any runs of any substance so that they can maintain this lead. It has been a spectacular half, 106-40 in favor of the Rollers. And here we go. Both teams once again up close on the jam. That's been the strategy for both tonight. It looks like Cloverkill is the jammer for Humboldt, and Cloverkill, you know what? Fantastic job by Cloverkill pushing through and getting into scoring position. Meanwhile, great defense here by Humboldt. You've got players stacked up down here in the first corner. Humboldt playing great defense for Humboldt is Peaches and Scream. And Peaches and Scream actually going to be called for a foul. Meanwhile, Cloverkill is on a scoring run and coming up to the back of the Hellcat defense. Oh, what a move! And then tripped down. And scoring that time for, while that was all happening, Amanaconda was able to pick up 4 points for the Hellcats. Very stealthy. I didn't even see her go through, and she's done it again. Really kind of having some pileups out there in the far straightaway, and the Hellcats have taken advantage of it. Now Cloverkill calls off the session. The session winds up being an 8-8 tie, and Redwood Rollers 114-48. They'll take ties. They just can't let the Hellcats have any runs and get them back in the ball game. So right now, this bout 114-48. the strategy for Humboldt of placing their players up on the line and engaging quickly when the jam starts. Jams start from a stopped standing position over here in the near straightaway prior to turn one. And Humboldt has done a great job of engaging quickly and keeping the Hellcat jammers bottled up. You know, there's always that moment on the broadcast when the band breaks into something, and when you hear "Carry On My Wayward Son" with a brass band, I mean, you got to figure it out a minute before you're able to think again. Here we go. So on the line is Humboldt. Players at a standing position, and now play resumes, and good job busting through for Sunny Days, and they are going to have the first chance to get into scoring position as the Hellcats are in that situation. They're really balled up chakra punch right now. Days fighting for points, any points you can get. Oh, what a job. Kind of like, hanging over the line as she was able to skate around to the outside. Chakra Punch is now broken loose too and is in scoring position. Days has gone down, and Days is going to call the jam. Wisely done. Once she went down, Chakra Punch was coming up on the backside of the pack. 5 points that time for the Hellcats. 5-0. Chakra Punch never was able to score any points for the Rollers. 114-53 with 127 to go. So 127 in the first half. 114-53. Remember, last time we saw Humboldt against the Diamond Divas, they didn't break 70 points. And they've scored 114 here in the first half. An amazing show. Santa Cruz coach talking to the officials. And quite frankly, Santa Cruz coach got to be shocked. Humboldt came into this game 0-2, having really been pushed around by the Diamond Divas and losing that game up in Salem, Oregon, to the Cherry City Roller Derby. And this has been a much different start tonight. And I'll tell you what, with the band playing, the Humboldt players are dancing on the bench. That's how they're feeling. Well, you know what they say, though. The least important score in sports is a halftime score. So they're going to have to come out and hold it in the second half. And I think it's important here at the end of the first half not to let Santa Cruz go on any run. So we're going to play the community calendar again at the break, the halftime. You'll hear that. And then we'll be back for the second half. Second half of what could be a game that could be so helpful to Humboldt. Remember, rankings, that's what these second games are all about. And if you're the number 39 team in the region and you beat the number 5 team in the region, you're going to go ahead and improve your lot. All right. So the referees are calling the players back on the rink. Humboldt moves up. Humboldt probably playing their biggest lineup right now. And wow, breaking through. What a move. Carl Sparks. There were some great screens thrown there. And Sparks was able to break loose and now is on a scoring run. Daddy Longlegs leading her into the pack to try to pass some players, and she's going to do just that. A couple of points at least so far. Stood up there by Sasha DeGrader, and Sparks is going to finally break through and score 4 points. Meanwhile, Barry Blitz is yet to break through the pack against Humboldt, although she was long into turn 2. And moving ahead for a couple of more points. Sparks pushing, driving, pushing into turn 3 and busting loose and scoring. I believe there was a penalty, and it was. So Sparks playing her second game. I mean, you've got some people coming up big that have played 2 games. And right now, Sparks is having the kind of luck. We only have 20 seconds to go in the half, 48 seconds to go in the jam. Remember, jams get to be finished, and Sparks breaks through again. And going to call off the jam. And I believe that's going to be the end of the first half. It will be. It ticks down. And folks, how about this? We're going to go into the intermission with the score. Redwood Rollers, 126. The Santa Cruz Hellcats, the 5th-ranked team in the Western region, 53. We'll see you in a few minutes. Community calendar coming up next.
Welcome to the KZZH Community Calendar for the week starting Friday, March 29th, 2024. On Friday, March 29th, drop the kiddos off at Kids Night at the museum from 5:30 to 8 p.m. at the Redwood Discovery Museum, 612 G Street, Eureka. Your 4 to 12-year-olds will enjoy interactive exhibits, science experiments, crafts, and games, exploring the planetarium, playing in the water table, or jumping into the soft blocks while you enjoy a relaxing date night. Find out about admission pricing by emailing info@discovery-museum.org or by calling 707-443-9694. Also on Friday, get your skates and come to skate night from 6:30 to 9 p.m. at the Eureka Municipal Auditorium, 1120 F Street. This is an all-ages, first-come, first-served event with no pre-registration required. There is a maximum of 75 skaters at any one time. There is a very modest admission price. On Saturday, March 23rd, lend a hand at Cooper Gulch Volunteer Work Day from 9 to 11 a.m. Cooper Gulch Park, 8th and Myrtle Streets in Eureka. You can help pick up trash and remove invasive species. Meet at the main parking lot. All supplies will be provided. This event is a family-friendly, however, minors must be accompanied by an adult. Email hatwood@eurekaca.gov or call 707-441-4218 for more information. Also on Saturday, check out the Foam Marsh Tour starting at 2 p.m. at the Arcata Marsh and Wildlife Sanctuary Interpretive Center, 569 South G Street. Meet leader Barbara Reisman at 2 p.m. in the lobby for a 90-minute rain or shine walk. Topics will include an overview of the wastewater treatment process, native and non-native plants. Find out more by calling 707-826-2359. Finally, on Saturday, are you a Humboldt Roller Derby fan but can't make it out to Saturday's games? Access Humboldt and KZZH 96.7 has got you covered. First, you can tune into KZZH 96.7 starting at 5:45 p.m. for complete game coverage. You can also stream live video of the games at youtube.com/user/accesshumboldt/live. Don't miss a single moment of exciting HRD action. On Sunday, March 31st, feel the beat at all level samba drumming from 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. at HLOC's space 92 Sunnybrae Center in Arcata. Drums are provided and there's no experience necessary. Beginners are welcome, or just come and hone your skills. The class fee is a very affordable sliding scale. Email samba.arcata@gmail.com for details or find them on Facebook. Also on Sunday, explore on Lolita Bottom's field trip from 8 to 11:30 a.m. starting at the Lolita Meat Market, 351 Main Street. Join trip leader Ken Burton to see birds of the Eel River floodplain, including raptors, shorebirds, and grassland passerines. Meet in front of Lolita Grocery to Caravan Carpool. Find out more by emailing shrike3@gmail.com or by going to rras.org. On Monday, April 1st, check out the Entrepreneurs Club of Arcata from 4 to 5 p.m. at the Arcata Chamber of Commerce, 1635 Hayden Road. Share your ideas, learn business skills, and network. The meeting is free and open to all. Call 925-214-8099 for more information. On Tuesday, April 2nd, raise your voice at the first Tuesday of the month sing-along from 7 to 9 p.m. at Arcata Community Center, 321 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway. Join Joel Sonnenschein as he leads a sing-along of your favorite folk, rock, and pop songs of the 60s and 70s. Songbooks will be provided. There is a very modest admission price. Find out about that and more by calling 707-407-6496. Also on Tuesday, check out English Express, an English language class for adults. You can build English language confidence in this ongoing online and in-person classes. All levels and first languages are welcome. You may join anytime and pre-registration not required. Go to EnglishExpressEmpowered.com or call 707-443-5021 for more information. On Wednesday, April 3rd, you can discover local history at the Lecture on Examining Early Day East Arcata Bay from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at the Arcata Marsh and Wildlife Sanctuary Interpretive Center, 569 South G Street. Jerry Rodet examines the major changes of the Bayside area between Daniel Slough and Eureka Slough. Email info@arcatamarshfriends.org or call 707-826-2359 to find out more. Also on Wednesday, join 350 Humboldt's first Wednesday of every month meeting from 6 to 7 p.m. This is a local grassroots climate action group's online meeting to take action to address climate change. Email dwchandl@gmail.com for a link. On Thursday, April 4th, it's Nature Quest from 2 to 5 p.m. at the Eureka Municipal Auditorium, 1120 F Street. This is a wilderness immersion program for teens and adults. Explore trails and share mindful practices, group conversation, and other eco-therapeutic activities. Adults meet Thursdays, teens meet one Saturday a month. Transportation provided for Eureka residents. It's free, but you are required to pre-register. Email swood2@eurekaca.gov or call 707-382-5338 for more information. Registration has opened for North Coast Open Studios, taking place May 31st to June 9th. NCOS is open to artists of all ages, skill level, and media, including artists and manufacturers, and welcomes all creative spaces, from dining room table to garage, rented studio to plein air studio. Deadline to register is Saturday, March 29th. Online registration at northcoastopenstudios.com. For more information, call 707-442-8413. The Board of Trustees of the Arcata School District is seeking a qualified person to join the board for the remainder of the term until the November election. Application online at arcataschooldistrict.org. Completed applications must be received in the district office no later than 5 p.m. on April 3rd. To submit your nonprofit event to the KZZH community calendar, go to kzzh.accesshumboldt.net and follow the community calendar link located near the top of the page. Your event information will be read twice a day, at noon and 5 p.m. on weekdays and at noon on the weekends. Your event information will also be shared on Access Humboldt TV's bulletin board. Access Humboldt, local voices through community media.
Roller Derby doubleheader here on KZZH 96.7. It has been an extraordinary first half, being that the number 5 team in the Western region, Santa Cruz Hellcats, came to town. Humboldt having lost their first 2 games of the season. Finley, one of the most difficult beginning schedules they've ever offered, and they have gone out and just taken it to the Hellcats in the first half, leading 126 to 50-30. So A great first half. It couldn't have started any better. And the exact problem that plagued Humboldt in the game against the Bakersfield Diamond Divas is not the case tonight. They've been able to get their jammers out, and they've been able to get their jammers into scoring position much faster than the Santa Cruz Hellcats have. As we said last time, we saw the Redwood Rollers. They did not break 70 points in the game against the Bakersfield Diamond Divas, and yet tonight, already 126 at the half, including a fantastic 12-0 run at the end of the first half that was spearheaded by Carl Sparks, who's playing their second game tonight. So fantastic play for Humboldt. Getting ready here for half number 2. Do you stay aggressive? Do you play defense more? How do you approach this? One thing Humboldt is going to do as they line up for the first jam of the second half is they are going to line up right on the line as far as the jam line to get things started. They are engaging the Santa Cruz jammers early and often. So here we go. Timers are set. Whistles are blown. And we're off. Look at who Humboldt is starting with. Cloverkill, who breaks loose. It was Carl Sparks and Cloverkill that were really had great first halves for Humboldt. And Cloverkill is going to go ahead and race right past the Hellcats and immediately calls for the jam off. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe we're looking at a strategy to get some points and get it called and not let the Hellcats ever get in a situation where they can pick up some points or maybe even go on a run. Humboldt is playing much looser this time, starting way back and now inching forward. This is a different formation. We haven't seen them use this tonight. They're spread out wide along the lane and breaking through. Tasmanian Devil has an advantage here and looks like she's going to be able to get into scoring position and does. And at the same time she does, breaking away from the pack is Sunny Days. So you have both jammers coming up to the pack and Tasmanian Devil trying to block Sunny Days out so that they can get into the first scoring position. And they called off the jam and are complaining that they called off the jam earlier. And we have some confusion here as she was not in front able to call off the jam. And so each team winds up scoring 4 points, a mistake that doesn't really hurt. We're brought to you by our underwriters, the Speakeasy, who is a New Orleans craft cocktail bar and a sponsor of Humboldt Roller Derby. They are there in Opera Alley in Eureka. The Rennie Law Group, a public service legal firm handling the business of cities and entities. Brio Cafe, a bistro cafe on the plaza in Arcata. And, of course, Juan Pablo Cervantes. Wow, what a break, what a move by Chakra Punch. I mean, they blew the whistle to start the jam, and she was out like a shot out of a cannon. Now coming up into scoring position and taking on Skyscraper. And, oh, there's a pileup of 3-4 players there. And Chakra Punch is able to get around. Meanwhile, leveling the boom on Flaming Fox's Destroyer. And Destroyer is going to go to the penalty box because threw an elbow on that one. Now you've got Flaming Fox just can't get started, and Chakra Punch is just the opposite, having all kinds of success. Now stopped kind of in turn 2 and pushes through. Flaming Fox has just been tied up the whole night. Chakra Punch having a good match. And hits to the inside. Wow, Skyscraper and Kraken Whip are the ones that go ahead and knock Chakra Punch to the ground. 150 to 57. Starting out just as strong as the first half. I'll tell you what, I walked around a little bit at halftime and saw the players. Very interesting. Not very many sports where the players intermingle with the crowd as much as these players do. And fantastic rapport between the fans and the players. But this is a happy bunch right now. They know what they're accomplishing. And my goodness, Carl Sparks, who went on that sensational run to end the first half, breaks loose and once again is in scoring position. And hard hit there. Splendor going to knock Sparks out. Anaconda is now loose and able to score for the Santa Cruz team as Sparks is still grinding it out along the far turn. And they're going to have to go to the penalty box. Sparks is for engaging in that far turn. So that means that Humboldt does not have a player, a jammer, that can score in this game. Anaconda just being pinballed around, but game and still moving and still trying. Remember, this is the situation for Santa Cruz where Humboldt doesn't have their jammer. So you might as well try to, no matter how exhausted, tired, and beaten you are, you got to try to keep scoring points. Great job there by Purple Sticky Punch, holding up Anaconda for as long as they could. Now Anaconda goes slipping out and will have to reset. Humboldt at full strength again. Nobody in the penalty box for either team. Sparks fighting along the outside. This jam might go the full 2 minutes. We don't see that very often. Sparks breaks through. The jam does go the full 2 minutes, and point-wise, Redwood Rollers pick up 4 to the Hellcats 3, and it's going to be 154-60. KZZH 96.7. You are listening to Humboldt Redwood Roller Derby. The Redwood Rollers, the 39th ranked team in the West, taking on the 5th ranked team in the West, the Santa Cruz Hellcats, and Humboldt is putting on a display, and that is Clover Killigan breaking loose. And here she comes for a scoring pass down here, and they're going to have a screen. She goes to the outside and gets past one Hellcat, and now she's handed out by the tripod. And some fancy footwork. It's going to get her around on the outside, passing Skyscraper, and she's going to pick up 4 points. So here comes Santa Cruz to go ahead and defense her again. Big hit there for Santa Cruz by Tornado Two Spirit. Barry Blitz is in scoring position too, although Cloverkill's outscored her 8-0 on this run. And Barry Blitz just picks up a nice move to the inside and picks up 4 points. Both skaters have gone around twice and scored 8 points on the run, and now Barry Blitz has gone around for a third time. And Cloverkill is going to join. Trading points here, and this jam might go the full 2 minutes as well. We didn't have two jams go the full 2 minutes in the first half. They call the jam off with 4 seconds to go. 170 to 72. Humboldt has increased its lead now to 98 points. An extraordinary performance by the Humboldt Roller Derby as the teams get ready to smash it up on the start of the break and racing to the outside. What a great job getting away by Sunny Days for the Hellcats. Meanwhile, Trevanian Devil has got to go back as she was knocked out. And now Sunny Days is picking up points, fighting through. Very strong skating by Sunny Days. The panty is passed to the pivot, Peaches and Scream. So Peaches and Scream will act as a jammer for the first time tonight. And doing a great job. Zigging and zagging around corner 3 and then through. The attempts to stop her. Four points scored by Trevanian Devil. The jam is called off. Each team gets 4, 174 to 80. Actually, it's an 8-4. Late points noticed by the scorekeepers. 4 points extra there for Santa Cruz. And there's a timeout. You're listening to KZZH LP 96.7 in Eureka. You have the Humboldt Roller Derby on your dial. 19:41 to go here in game 2, the game for the rankings. And Humboldt comfortably ahead, 174 to 80. $174.80. Under 20 minutes now to go. Humboldt hasn't changed a thing in their approach here in the second half, taking it to them just like they did in the first half. Remember, our next bout for the radio will be April 27th. Okay, here we go. Whistle is blown. Action starts, and Chakra Punch breaks through again. So impressive have the jammers been tonight for Humboldt. Oh, and some real hard slogging for the Hellcats. Barry Blitz knocked down by number 64 Destroyer. There's players going down all over. There's players in the penalty box. This is that point in the game where tired, exhausted, but still playing, still hitting. Chakra Punch putting on a show. Great skating and power when she needs it. Coming up to the tripod again and taking it on, going right through the middle of it. And going to be held up there in turn 3. Meanwhile, Barry Blitz goes down and is unable to score and has to go back. Chakra Punch calls off the jam. The result is a 16-4 session for Humboldt. And the score now reads 190 to 86. Going to be Jam 7 here in the second half. We have another timeout, official timeout. 190 to 86. Unbelievable. Humboldt is easily going to top 200 points. In the first game, the Supernovas top 200 with their star player who was the MVP in that ceremony you saw at halftime. The MVP of that game was Bully Elliott. So the team's getting ready to line up. I don't know what the official delay is. Humboldt's going to have that strategy, and they have a big club up there right now, probably their strongest defensive team. And look at that breakaway by Carl Sparks, and they played a great game in this game. Actually, both jammers got loose. Anaconda is there. Carl Sparks fighting along the line and gets knocked out and calls for the end of the jam. Calling for the end of the jam point-wise there was just 1-0 in favor of the Hellcats. The Hellcats are a long way behind. They're not going to make up any ground playing it that way. 17:34 to go here in the second half. Humboldt running away with it, and a very, very impressive game. Breaking loose is Sunny Days for Santa Cruz. She'll be in the scoring position, and she's coming up to the Humboldt tripod as Tornado Two-Spirit is trying to throw some blocks and release Sunny Days, but Days unable to break loose. And then while that's going on, Cloverkill zooms right through. Sometimes, you get the Hellcats are involved in trying to get their own player loose. And if Humboldt's in a scoring position, they've been able to go ahead and score themselves. So Sunny Days is on the loose, and now Cloverkill have got to go to the box on a penalty, meaning Humboldt does not have a scoring player in the game. That happened far too often in the first game, but it has not happened very often in this one here. And with the score, Humboldt ahead by 99 points, it's not of concern as to when it was in game one when they were behind. And now you have an interesting situation where both jammers have gone to the box, and now Cloverkill out of the box, meaning that Humboldt is the only team with a scoring player on the rink. And that's what Cloverkill does. Breaks loose. So an outstanding performance. And I'll tell you, the players that played in two games, Cloverkill and Carl Sparks, they have been outstanding. Cloverkill gets bumped from behind. And that's got to be a penalty. Sasha DeGrader, and that is exactly what has happened. They're sending her to the box, pushing in the back. Humboldt has exceeded 200 points, 206, 210. Nope, 206 to 99. The score's bouncing back and forth. The score has actually been readjusted one more time. Referee coming over to talk, and it looks like it's 202 to 99. Humboldt ahead by 103 points. So there's some questions about the clock going on. The Santa Cruz coach has been working the officials all night, but I don't know what you work much about when it's a 103-point difference. I don't know where the turning point is. So 202 to 99, 103-point lead for Redwood Roller Derby. The Redwood Rollers losing their first two games of the season, losing their first game of their opener here to the Diamond Divas, looking like a different team than they've looked tonight. They've just been fantastic. Clock has been restored to 15:05, so we're halfway through the period as Trevanian Devil is pushing down here to the bottom of turn one, and there's going to be a penalty, and Trevanian Devil now is on a scoring run and is going to pass untouched and pick up 4 points. Here they come again. And breaking through inside, outside, little zig, little zag. And Trevanian Devil has picked up 8 points. Coming around for a third pass. And taking on Skyscraper and leaving Skyscraper sprawled to the ground. So Trevanian Devil has gone 3 times right now, a 4th time. She's running wild. Finally, Flaming Fox passes the panty, and the run is going to be called off because the pivot had caught Trevanian Devil on that backside. A 16-3 run. And it's 218 to 102. Boy, this team getting a lot of belief in itself tonight, getting a lot of incredible confidence. They head up to the line, and it's Chakra Punch breaking through again. This has been amazing. And meanwhile, these Humboldt defenders, Chakra Punch is all the way around and in scoring position now, and the Hellcats have yet to release their jammer. This is the exact opposite of the performance we saw against the Diamond Divas. That's the name of the game. If you cannot get your jammers loose, you're not going to win any of these games. And tonight, Humboldt has done just that. Panty pass to the pivot for Santa Cruz, and that's Merciless Martinez now. And Punch is going to call off the jam and outscore the Hellcats. Let's see as points are being tallied up. Looks like an 8-2 session in favor of Humboldt. So here we go, Humboldt on the line. That's where they've liked to play it at the start of each of these jams tonight. And breaking loose, Carl Sparks. I'll tell you what a game from your two players, Carl Sparks and, well, you've got 3, but what Sparks and Cloverkill have been outstanding. Having played 2 games, Trevanian Devil also played 2 games, and they've been a great jammer tonight. Chakra Punch has played the 1 game and been very impressive. Humboldt goes ahead and taps out after being outscored 7-3 in that session by the Hellcats. 11 minutes to go here in game number 2, the game that means the most, the game that has the rankings on the line. And we are seeing Humboldt absolutely played their best game of the season. This has just been night and day. So pushing ahead, and it's Cloverkill pushing for Humboldt and Sunny Days, and they both broke loose. So now you have this incredible race around as the teams brace to try to stop them, and it's going to be all collisions here in turn one. And that's exactly what's happened. Although, wow, Sunny Days uses some great footwork to get out on the outside. That was just fantastic job by her to get it started. She's coming around for a second scoring pass, and it's knocked out that time by Maud Behavior. And Cloverkill finally got out and has scored for Redwood Roller. Whistle's being blown. Jam is being tapped out. And let's look at the point total. 7-4 in favor of Humboldt in this session. Redwood Rollers now lead at 236 to 115. So the highest score we've seen in any of the four bouts that we have broadcast this year. That surpasses the Supernovas in the first game. We're at 233. So an incredibly impressive performance by the Rollers. Up on the line, pushing and breaking loose, Tasmanian Devil. Meanwhile, Merciless Martinez being held up. Tasmanian Devil for the score. She's going to go right into the middle of the Santa Cruz tripod and push through. And man, she is just pushing and grinding and scoring and breaks loose. Wow, just what great effort. I'll tell you what, when you're ahead and they're going to call, you're going to tap out. A little more energy when you're ahead. A little more enthusiasm. Santa Cruz might be the team right now with hanging their heads a bit. 240 to 117. This game has not been in doubt. Humboldt started out with a 26-0 run, and they've never looked back. Chakra punch, bust loose again. Meanwhile, tremendous hit that time by Sasha DeGrader on Slam Chowder, my halftime guest. Sasha DeGrader, a much bigger player than Slam Chowder, and that was an incredible hit. So pushing, Chakra punch is in the penalty box, which of course means that Humboldt has no scoring player on the rink at this time. It's going to be Flaming Fox, the only person with a chance to gain some points. Here she comes behind a wall of Hellcats into turn three, and she's pushing. Good job by Slam Chowder to kind of hold her up. Slam Chowder might be the smallest player on the rink right now. And down goes Flaming Fox. Chakra punch back in the game. And is skating alone and scoring. The panty has been passed to Sasha DeGrader. I'll tell you what, they are a hard-nosed player. And they're also a little peeved, I think, at the way the game has gone. And I think that any contact is good contact with the DeGrader at the moment. We get to that point of the game where you just want to hit some people. Meanwhile, Chakra punch breaks through. Some very impressive scoring. And they're going to call the jam. 6:09 to go. We're going to start jam 15 here in the second half. 252 to 117. just a thrashing. Going to be a long drive back to Santa Cruz. Hopefully they'll stay tonight. Referees discussing scoring, even though this game not in doubt, trying to get it right. You're listening to 96.7 LP, KZZH Radio, Eureka, California. You can hear the entire home season of Redwood Rollers and Root Force Roller Derby as we do both games, double headers on the home Saturdays. Getting ready now for the jam to get started. And Carl Sparks, my goodness, just been fantastic. And Anaconda is loose too for the Hellcats. And now she is the only one loose because going to the bench, the penalty bench, is Carl Sparks. Maybe a little too much that she broke through. So they're in there for a bit. That means Humboldt doesn't have a scoring player on the rink. Far turn, pushing, and being knocked down is Anaconda fighting. Good effort. Daddy Longlegs heads to the penalty box. Humboldt now has their jammer back on as Anaconda able to get things going and then knocked out. Carl Sparks, in the meantime, has broken loose again and has a possibility to score. Humboldt has just never stopped with the aggressiveness tonight. A huge scrum up along the first straightaway where we have where the jams get started. And then down here in corner number one, Carl Sparks finally breaks around. Coming in for another pass with just 10 seconds left in the jam. It'd be the third jam in this half that has gone the full 2 minutes. And Sparks breaks through. Wow. Scoring 8 and getting the score to 260. An 8-8 session, 260-125. We're at 3:30 to go into ball game. I want to thank our sponsors as the jam gets started again, or our underwriters, I should say. Cloverkill breaks loose and it's going around. The Speakeasy. The New Orleans Star Bar, craft cocktails, local fresh ingredients, jazz and blues music. Boy, blues is what Santa Cruz is going to be hearing on this trip home because Cloverkill's racking up more points. This has been such an impressive effort for Humboldt. You want to save some of this. Cloverkill taps out. An 8-0 session for the Redwood Rollers, 268-125. Little over 2 minutes to go in the game. We want to thank Juan Pablo Cervantes, who has sponsored us. You're a person, you can sponsor us. You can also donate to KZZH Radio. Go to the website and go to the spot that calls for a patron, and you can donate $20 a year, $5 a month. You can become a sponsor of community local programming that is more than just roller derby. lining up for a jam. It's just a little over 2 minutes. It's conceivable this could be the last jam of the night. Want to thank Brio Cafe. Coffees and baked goods and wine, and right there on the plaza, nice place to sit outside. Their underwriter, and then the Rennie Law Group. And the Rennie Law Group, of course, a community-based legal firm that helps communities and deals in negotiations for contracts. They're an underwriter as well. Canadian Devil is going to call off the jam. It's all over but the shouting, as they say. 1:36 to go. 272 to 125. Just an extraordinary experience. This is the number 5 team in the Western region, and they are going to beat them by almost 150 points. Not only did Humboldt score over 200 tonight, they scored over 200 points more than they scored in the first game. So that's sunny days. It's had a good match for the Hellcats. Played well. And as a jammer, powerful skater, and shocker punch right behind her. Players still trying to score. We're underneath a minute. And this game is getting ready to finish up. How about the Redwood Rollers? Sunny Days getting bumped out on the far corner. Shocker punch held up and just kind of stalling for time. She breaks loose now. Her last scoring drive of the night. We're under 10 seconds. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's the game. 276 to 129. What a game. And as I said, that's 200 points more than they scored against the Disco Divas, or the Diamond Divas. Maybe we'll see the Disco Divas later in the season. I don't know. But the Diamond Divas, that's 200 points more than Humboldt scored against the Diamond Divas in the first home bout. So they run their record now to 1-2. And let's see what happens with the ranking as Humboldt, the 39th ranked team in the Western region, defeats the number 5 ranked team in the Western region when they defeat Santa Cruz 276 to 125. Very impressive defense. Well, I mean, there's 2 keys to this game. The jammers were fantastic. They broke loose. The strategy of putting the players right up on the line neutralized the jammers for Santa Cruz, and at the same time, they were able to use screens and whatnot to get things going. Well deserved. The crowd is out around the rink, the beautiful sign as they are slapping 5. Well, with the players. Fantastic. Well, that's going to do it for tonight. We had Chelsea in the first game, and I'm Paul Bersu. I was with you here for the whole way in the second. I want to thank everybody who helped put on this production. Matt Knight, Nate, Chan was here. He wrote the song. All kinds of great folks working on this. We'll see you next time, April 27th, for the next meet. And for KZZH 96.7 Radio, this is Paul Bersu saying good night. Once again.
Recording stopped.